me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Shave his head! Shave his head! Shave his head!
Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonette, R.A., Mike Grinelli, Spittin Chiclets.
How are ya? Welcome to episode 551 of the Spittin Chiclets podcast, presented to you by Pink Whitney. Oh, baby, Pink Whitney and the NCAA tournament, they kind of go hand in hand. If you're sitting around watching hoops all day the past week, who wouldn't want to sit around and have some drinks all week with some Pink Whitney? The big bottles, the little bottles, the medium bottles, the shots, the mixed drinks, doesn't matter. Golf. Skiing. There's still skiing going on. There's still springtime skiing going on in certain places. I've never been. Sounds awesome, though. But Pink Whitney, when it's involved, it makes it better. It makes it more fun, and it's all about Pink Whitney. That's why we're here. That's why this show exists. So thank you so much to Pink Whitney. Go out to your local bar and get a shot.
Attaboy, Whitty. Attaboy, Whitty. Snapping around.
It's great to chat with you guys right now. Actually, NCAA tournament, kind of, I don't remember a year when it seems so kind of boring. I know it's all about the upsets and March Madness. Now, I didn't catch every game as all the guys in Barstool Chicago did at the gambling streams, but I didn't see really many upsets at all. I kind of was looking for exciting endings, didn't see many of that. So let's hope moving forward as the better teams are now in the mix in what they call the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
You know that?
I think
you know what they
the
call
NHL's going for Goodell, and it's now taking over March Madness. Because of all these wild card races. Hockey's just taking everything down. What the fuck did Keith say while I was talking?
He brought up your super sweet 16 birthday party you had. The guy that's not into birthdays had a week-long birthday party.
No. Hey, listen. Jeff Jacobson and Jackie Carls forced me into it. So I was like, all right, I told you guys I'm not the birthday guy. But after doing it, it's completely changed my outlook on it. So you guys will be at 41, 42.
One time, I years ago, maybe you were almost, I think, pissed off. You were getting happy birthday text.
Because I don't want to be on my fucking phone all day. I believe that my birthday gift should be at the fact that I get to get away from my phone. You know, I mean, how am I getting chirped for this, Jans? What do you have to say for yourself?
I think you could always, if you didn't want to look at your phone, but honestly, you're on your phone all day, every day.
Yeah, you're on the phone.
So I don't understand why it would be any different. But maybe it's just nice as a friend to send another friend a birthday. I'm not looking for a text back saying thank you or whatever.
Okay,
it's just you just want to send it out there. I don't think.
I
don't think
that I have to get back
text,
to everybody. That's why.
That's like the Merry Christmas ones. Those drive me insane.
The copy and pasters.
If you send Merry Christmas to like a bunch of people, like, yeah, I hate to say you're a scumbag. I know it's all in good intentions, but you're a real scumbag.
I do that every year. I text all you guys Merry Christmas.
That is perfect. That describes it perfectly.
Yeah, no shorts.
I love texting people Merry Christmas.
Wait, how about this goes for me saying I'd like the day off from answering texts back for happy birthday to Whit saying people
Santa.
Who send Merry Christmas group texts belong to be shot into the moon here.
And if you send Happy Easter, there should be a firing squad at your door. By the way, I saw there was a guy in some state recently that was on death row. He chose firing squad as the way to go. Did you see that story?
What?
Keith?
I did. I kind of respect it.
I guess so. I didn't even. How are those things still allowed?
What do you mean? Like they hit the button and it just cooks you?
I don't think they hit the button.
No,
they take a finger and pull the trigger, a bunch of them.
Oh,
they do
okay,
like
so
five guys. There's like 5 shooters or whatever, say 10, and there's 9, bullets that aren't real bullets, so they don't know who actually killed them, so you don't like have that guilty conscience. So there's 9 blanks and then 1 real bullet, and they all shoot at the same time.
Get the fuck out of here!
I'm not kidding, Biz. Now,
Holy
Biz,
shit.
most people. It's crazy that this has gone all the way into, how you end up spending your final moments on death row, but they'll put a needle in your arm and you fall asleep and you're dead.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Well, no, this guy wanted a firing squad. So if you send me Happy Easter, either way, I'm sending those guys to your place. No rubber bullets.
I don't know what's worse, that or the fact I thought you meant they lit him on fire.
Well, yeah, that would be really.
That's what I thought you meant. I thought you meant like they just.
Okay.
It's like, wow, that would be a really sick way to go.
Oh, God,
That would be the sickest. That or drowning.
Oh God, Jesus! You know what, Biz? We were somewhat on fire. A little pun or play on words.
Thank you for
you
getting
and
us
I
out
were
of
in
that.
Halifax. You and I were in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So we went out there, Keith. It was the Progress Club's sports charity dinner. Now we didn't know much about it at all going in. This thing is as impressive as any dinner I've ever been to. Over 1,300 people there. In where did we have it, Biz? The Convention Center, Halifax Convention
Yeah, just
Center?
downtown. Wow. The newer one, it's like about a stone's throw away from the hockey arena. The downtown's not very big, but a beautiful city. And like, how hospitable is Halifax?
Oh.
The entire you can't beat East Coast people and just their kindness and their welcomingness and everything they were able to put together in order to raise $1 million they donated this year to an amazing cause, Special Olympics. Yep. And when I'm drawing a blank on the home, the Windsor
Kings Meadow.
Kings Meadow. It was in Windsor, Halifax is where the home is.
Yeah, and so there's I believe 10 special needs people. That it's a fully staffed house. Like, this dinner's been going on, this Progress Club, over 50 years. An amazing time. It was myself, Biz, Jeremy Roenick, Jackie Barrett, who won 13 or 15 gold medals in the
15 medals, 13 of which gold in the Special
Olympics. Keith, he back squatted 625 pounds. And it was incredible to see. Like, this guy gave up. He gave a nice interview. We were with, was it Rod Black, correct?
Rod Black, legend.
What a guy. All-time bus driver, Keith, for this entire thing. Tessa Bonhomme was there. Legendary gold medal winner 2010 Women's Winter Olympics in Van. So it was just a fantastic night. And it was funny because JR was chatting us up beforehand. I think he had been years prior. Somebody showed him a picture at like the same dinner. He's like, I don't remember that.
He didn't remember being in Halifax the first time.
He's like, it's my first time in Halifax. I'm like, JR, you were at this dinner a couple years back. He's like, 15 years ago. That doesn't count.
He goes, you wouldn't have believed him unless they showed him the picture. So that was what reminded him.
Did that guy get all of his events in like weightlifting? All of his medals?
He started as a swimmer. He started in swimming, and then I don't remember exactly what happened, but I mean, he's a tank of a man, and he just got into weightlifting and just smashing records, smashing them. And to see this guy, how strong he was, and then Biz, who called you out? Center ice,
Jeff.
And Jeff.
Yeah, one of the members one of the members of that house, like just a beauty. He actually had a full-grown beard and he shaved it like the day before the event. He even took off his sideburns. Looked like who was the old coach for the Brampton Battalion, Stan Butler. He came up and at the luncheon, he goes, "I want to arm wrestle Ryan Whitney," but he thought I was Whit. So he called me out, and I was like, "That's the biggest insult I've ever received. Like, show me a little respect here, especially on my home soil." So I had to arm wrestle him up there, and he gave me the, what's that over there? Hook, line, and sinker, and then slammed me down, man. Those guys, they got some strength. Jeffy embarrassed me, but we'll be back next year, and I want a shot at the title.
You got to be careful arm wrestling. My buddy tore his bicep at the member guest last year down here.
No.
Yeah, like you can't, if you're an
if you're arm
older
wrestling,
guy
like
drinking
full
all
tilt
day,
while drinking, you might as well be somebody sending happy Easter texts, right? Like, that's what are you doing? Arm wrestling at this age? I mean, maybe the young bucks can rip that off.
They like their pops out in Halifax, eh?
These guys,
Alexander Keats.
I showed up. I got picked up. I landed Wednesday night. I don't know. It was like 9:30. Got to the hotel. It was like 10:30 by the time I got to the hotel. And I knew the next day we were doing stuff in the morning, afternoon, and then the gala was at night. So I check into the hotel, and I'm just looking to go up there and like finish season 3 of The Wire and pass out. And the guys guy Ben who'd picked me up, he's like, everyone's in there. Everyone's at this room in the hotel bar. I was like, oh, okay. And I walk in, and these guys are like, take this gummy, get him a drink. I was like, fuck, no. So I ended up kind of Irishing after like 45 minutes. I was like, yeah, just like snuck out. The only way to leave is you get older. People, I think they understand. Listen, you have to Irish on people like you wouldn't believe. And I'm talking Irish exit. I'm talking you don't even look at somebody to give them a wink goodbye. You just pretend you go into the bathroom and disappear.
Yeah, you're unbelievable
I'm a professional.
Professional.
Yep. Yeah.
And he won't even answer his phone when you're like calling him when he's at home. Like he doesn't even
it's
exist.
completely dark.
It's like he's got 4 different lives going on. You probably have a different family I don't know about. He's like, shut the fuck up.
Halifax, an amazing city, a mini Boston-ish. Like it reminds me of the city. The people 1 million times nicer, but it's awesome and it was great. Biz and I said we'd love to go back. Actually, a former teammate of ours was there, Steven Dixon.
Oh yeah, Dickie. Oh my God, this guy funny.
One of the funniest bastards you'll ever meet. Like his voice, the way he tells stories. And I told the story up there because I think Biz mentioned, "Oh, Dickie, where are you at? Where are you at?" We knew he was there, and everyone ends up pointing. And I brought up the story that Keith, he used to. He's the hairiest
motherfucker, Sasquatch.
He would shave his chest. He would put a V-neck on and shave just the V-neck. So, like, if he's meeting ladies out, they think he's got a shaved chest. You pull the V-neck back a square centimeter, and there's just hair busting out. So he would do, and I think he would nair his back.
Oh, God, he did everything. He did. I don't think lasers to that degree existed back then. Like they hadn't invented like the hair remover or the tattoo removal lasers. So he was doing nair. Like he had hairy triceps even, and he would trim them in the sink. So he would clog up our sink, so we couldn't even use our sink. And I used to live with him and Dan Carcillo. It was the greasiest house you could imagine. Knowing the man, to the point where then he started doing it in the nairing in the shower. And then it would start clogging up the shower. So we had to fucking bathe in the fucking sink in the kitchen, for crying out loud. I had to live with this guy. But I told Whit, like, oh, he did give me my nickname. And Whit's like, oh yeah, show HL guy over here. Thanks for the nickname. Just carving me on stage.
Unreal.
We were going at it.
Yeah, we were actually really ripping each other on stage. That was pretty funny.
They were loving it.
They were loving it. They were like, geez, these guys are friends. I'm like, yeah, we're best friends.
Yeah.
Hey,
but
doesn't he know the all-time trick is if you're shaving anything, you do it on the road in the hotel room, so you don't do that.
He had to do it every week, though.
That's what I'm saying. It would grow back. Like he shaves it Friday in Hartford, and by Sunday in Wilkes-Barre, it's all back. So I don't even blame the guy.
So we were calling him out for about 3 minutes of that interview on stage with Rod Black. But going back to it to end it all, just incredible hospitality. Great job what they're doing over there in Halley, and I believe there's 2 other progress clubs throughout Canada. There's I think they're both other ones might be in Ontario, but if I'm getting that wrong, my apologies. But what you guys are doing is awesome, and it was we're grateful to have been a part of it.
Yeah, and I was asking JR like just like the difference in the game now, kind of like old stories, and I asked about Dirk Graham. I was kind of looking at the Hawks like 92 roster right around that time. He's like, oh, Dirk Graham, that guy was tough as nails. He goes, he had the most legendary pregame speech before one of the Cup Finals games that like I've ever witnessed and that I'll ever witness. I was like, really? He's like, he came in the room, he's all emotional. He's like, you're gonna get the best game I've ever played tonight, boys. I will be the greatest I've ever been. On and on about how good he's going to be. Went out and had a hat trick in the first period.
That's
I was like, what?
gnarly.
And he's like, yeah, like after this insane like 2-minute speech where he's saying how good he was going to be for the guys in this room, he goes out, gets a first period hat trick. We lost 6-5.
I had my guy.
He was -6.
I had my guy.
They're all power play goals. But yeah, great weekend. And Biz, that was Thursday. Your weekend, it took you to Hockey Night in Canada. Talk about dressing down. You got the tie way undone. You got the ambassador jacket. You make this ridiculous video about the Leafs screaming at the camera. And what do you know? The Leafs blow a 2-0 lead to the lowest teams in the league. An
just
incredible
nasty.
night.
Mush nasty in full effect. I got the ambassador
jacket
on.
Was it 2-0 when you did that video?
No, I did that coming into the game. So we were up 2-0. And I even mentioned that San Jose game. I said, this one feels right now like one of those ones that comes back to bite you in the ass. And they were tied with Florida at that point for the division lead in the Atlantic, right? Same amount of games played, and they get an easy one right on their platter. They go up 2-0, and then the fucking wheels fall off, man. I tell you, just unbelievable. And you had to know that Nashville was going to be coming hard, too. Did you see Andrew Brunette's quotes?
Yeah, so he had called them out on Friday, I believe, or Thursday.
And kind of like directed it towards the leadership group and the veterans. And then even O'Reilly was asked about it. He goes, honestly, man, he goes, this is the state where you start getting angry. 4 losses in a row now. It's been a shit sandwich of a year. And he goes, but like, I'm not playing good. So how do I get mad? Like, it's like Jans, I'm sure you can correlate. You're a type of guy who would have talked at some point, but if you're not bringing your A game, like you can't really be the guy in the room who's rah and shit.
Yeah, it's tough too. Like, not every leader, is speaking up in the locker room in between periods and getting the guys going. Like, I'll say Barkey, for instance. He's your best player in, every night, every game, the entire year, 82 games. But he's not going to come in and start, if you're on a 4-game losing streak, he's not going to come in and start yelling at guys, be like, hey, you got to play more like me. He more leads by example. And then you have guys like me who might be struggling, but you have to say something. And then in your mind, you're like, are these guys even listening to me? I'm -7 the last 3 games. But I think when you have those good teams,
I was.
When you have those good teams, everyone kind of, when you're all pulling from the same rope, and it doesn't matter where the message is coming from, as long as it's the right message. And, we have all been a part of those days when the coach comes in flipping out, when you're on a tough stretch, and it's never fun, but, it happens in a long season, whether it's the coaches flipping out, the GMs coming in flipping out, or the players flipping out. It has to happen.
We've had plenty of coaches flipping out, and we'll get to that. But going back to that Leafs debacle, that was a trap game, up 2-0 like they were against San Jose, and then they give up 5 unanswered. So just some brutal goals too, lost coverage, bad pinching by the F3 forward. So kind of disgusted because you know what it brings me back to? It brings me back to the whole Leak interview when he was talking about when they just kind of didn't have that energy to like win those last couple games to win a Stanley Cup. And he looked back to prior series where they're like, fuck, man, we should have been more focused going into that one. We had to do the extra travel, play the extra game, and that took kind of a little bit of wind out of our sails in order to get over the hump. Like, buddy, you got an opportunity to get like a freebie up on Florida, and they're dealing with a couple injuries, and then you do that. Those are the games you're going to look back if you end up playing Tampa and you go to 7, where it's like, fuck, we could have had a wild card. I'm not saying that's going to be a layup, but we both know that Florida or Tampa ain't going to be that. So just a shitty night to be a Leafs fan, but hey, still a lot of runway left here, and we got a lot more to get to other than the Leafs.
Yeah, and like nobody really seems to be playing that great right now in that division. I mean, Tampa's lost 2 in a row. Yesterday, Sunday, I thought the Panthers were going to lose to the Penguins. They're down 3-1. They got all these guys out of the lineup, and that's kind of an animal win by them, right? Like, we're not losing to this team right now. We're trying to win this division, and you end up getting the 2 points out of it. So that was impressive. Saturday night was wild, though. We had a bunch of crazy things go on, and I think the craziest might have been post-game in New Jersey, where I haven't seen a player make such an innocent quote in my life as Kovacevic made when asked, what do you guys got to start doing? I believe he said, we just got to get that playoff mentality going. And I'm paraphrasing, more just like when he finished the interview, he's probably like, oh, I didn't say anything bad. I just totally just trying to get the boys going here. And when asked about it, Sheldon Keefe just I guess blew a gasket. He's like, Kovacevic's got to start playing better. Why does he worry about his own game? Like, watching it made no sense. I was so confused. And I guess, like, you could look at it, maybe Sheldon Keefe thought his quote kind of made it sound like he wasn't getting the team ready to go playoff-wise. And it was a hell of a soundbite, though.
Yeah, so I was on Hockey Night in Canada, and right away when we were in the back and we saw it, like, Elliot was like, holy shit. I looked at Bieksa. Bieksa said first thing, he goes, he hates when they go to the room and they ask the players for comments and then bring it back to the coach. And most of the time it's maybe being a little bit misconstrued on the way back, and maybe it's being kind of teed up in order to get that type of reaction. Now, I kind of agreed with Elliot where I don't think he was doing that. I think he's just kind of, saying, do you think the player is right in the situation? And, buddy, that is just stress. Somebody needs to get Sheldon Keefe a bong, like get him a ketamine bump before he's going into these fucking interviews. He has to put on the moon boots and just chill out a little bit. And the Liam brought it up on our weekly TNT call, because obviously we're going to talk about this. Like, this is a big story. Like, you would think with having lost Hamilton, Siegenthaler's out, Jack Hughes is out, he would be having a lot more lighthearted approach in the fact that I don't think anybody's going to hang this season on Sheldon Keefe. I think most Devils fans, I think most of them think that they're going to go in and get throttled by Carolina. I think everybody thinks that. And like, you got tough injuries at the wrong time. And it wasn't your fucking year, but tons of runway left. But to now all of a sudden, like, take that approach and kind of put a lot of the focus now on you being like, oh, geez, like, maybe no wonder these guys are gripping their sticks a little bit tight and things haven't been going well given the adversity. Like, this guy's wound up like a kite. And then to center out a guy who I think, like, for a young player has been one of their more consistent players. Like, maybe he had a tough couple games and like a couple turnovers where they're
just resigned.
Like, but Jesus Christ, Keith, like, I thought this was a little bit over the top. And I mean, we're going to talk about Montreal, but we go from the game one of that night to seeing him like doing little shoulder bumps with Caulfield on the way in, playing tummy sticks, like making his players feel loose to what you see there. That was just, whew, that was nuts.
I think that's a great way to lose a locker room, is to do something like that. Because if guys are on the fence of whether, you know, they're loving Sheldon Keefe, the way he's coaching, that's going to tip them the other way. Because you got a young kid like that. The way I took it was...
He's not that young. He's not that young.
Well,
27.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right, well, you got to play a guy in your team.
I think it's even worse that he's not that young, I'm saying. Like,
but my thing is, like, they're playing, their games right now all mean something. And when towards the end of the season, when you're playing, the coach, every meeting's, hey, tonight's a playoff type game. Tonight we got to be playoff ready. Like, it's a playoff game. He's probably just repeating what the coach said before the game. And then he checks his Twitter feed after and he's getting absolute. I would have been like, what the hell is going on right now?
What did the reporter tell him I said?
Yeah.
Clearly, obviously, Sheldon Keefe hates this guy and hates his game. But like, and then he just walked out, right? He didn't even finish the thing.
That was the best / worst part. That's what I'm like. I think this guy.
Oh, he ended it on that. That was the end of the press conference.
He walked out. Did you see the PR guy? The PR guy's like, "Oh God, here we go." He goes,
And
I'm not getting any sleep tonight.
I don't think the reporter was trying to like stir the pot or anything.
Agree.
Like he was just saying like, yeah, you got to be playoff ready, and like, yeah,
he's like, what that motherfucker say? What?
No, I was actually imagining.
He's
like,
running
Keith,
down
I'm with
the hallway.
He must kind of hate him because I was picturing like if a reporter went up to Terry in Pittsburgh after a loss and he's like, so we just talked to Ryan Whitney and asked, what they need to do, and he mentioned being playoff ready. Like, he might have just puked immediately, like been too upset, like physically, emotionally to even say anything. Because like if a guy you don't love, if a reporter's talking about a player you don't love giving quotes after a loss, like all of a sudden, the coach's head is just spinning with anger. Pasha. Is Pasha on here? Why don't we get Pasha?
Well, yeah.
Pasha,
Are you okay having this guy on?
Pasha,
are you okay?
I'll tell you this, Pasha. If Montreal gets in, which I hope they do, and they get Washington, they have like a way better chance. Anyone playing Winnipeg on the West has a way better chance than the Devils have against Carolina. Like, this could be a minus 450 type line before this series. I don't even know if you'll win a game.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not anything groundbreaking. The best players out, their best offensive D-man's out, their best defensive D-man's out. Like,
you got your goalie.
The coach lost their mind.
Well, no, I mean, Markstrom has been terrible since he came back from his injury. And like going back to Keefe's quotes, like I didn't like it either. I think he has reason to be frustrated with the team. It's kind of 3 tough showings in a row now, even though they beat Columbus that first game, but the third period they got caved. But to me, I honestly think like outside of Hischier and Bratt, I think he would have had a similar response if anyone gave that quote. I think it was more kind of like talk is cheap, go out there and perform versus like specifically about Kovacevic. Like, he's been pretty solid. The team has a lot of issues. Like I just mentioned, Markstrom being the main one right now. He's been brutal. The bottom 6 has been brutal. That's kind of more on Fitzy. But I really don't think Kovacevic is a problem. And boys, things have changed a lot since game 1 when he called him Kovechkin, have they not? Like, holy cow.
He called him that?
Yeah, Keefe called him Kovacevic because he scored a rocket 1-T in game 1. And someone's like, oh, Kovacevic this. And he goes, oh, you mean Kovechkin? So
he's got 1 goal.
Is that his only goal this year?
Yeah.
It's like
Jesus
he
Christ.
keyed his car. It's like he keyed his car,
Yeah.
made fun of his wife or something like that. Reaction. I still think Kovacevic is probably like, I don't believe that the reporter gave my actual quote.
Also,
Yeah, it was weird.
Also, if you're Keefe, like today, if you had practice, that's the first thing you got to go over and you got to talk to him, right?
No, he hates his guts.
Oh,
He ain't talking to him.
Hey, no, he goes up and the guys are like, oh, nice. He's kind of apologizing, but he's in his ear and he's like, speak to the media again, you motherfucker. You'll be in the coast.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
What the
weird.
fuck you be saying to the media, boy?
There was a lot of names ahead of his that I think deserve that kind of treatment in the, getting publicly called out over Kovacevic. So it was definitely weird.
I would have
Definitely weird.
loved to have seen him talk about it to his captain like that. You're saying that he would have said that regardless of any. You're telling
No,
me
no,
that
I
was
said- I know,
bullshit.
I said-
I said outside of Heischer and Brad, like a couple guys, I think like most guys, if he had heard that quote, I think his reaction was more
Do you
just
think
like,
he would have said it to Markstrom? Markstrom's a scary motherfucker.
I kind of would like him to. Like Markstrom's been brutal since he came back from injury.
Oh, Pasha.
All right,
Pasha.
Sheldon.
Hey, Pasha,
But-
just like Keefe throwing all his players under the bus now.
Oh,
eh?
yeah.
This
I
is
would
an
like-
organizational
I-
problem.
I would like to
Top
take a
to
second
bottom.
though to pump the tires of Jesper Bratt. Jack Hughes gets out, they get gut punched, they could roll over. This guy has stepped up. He just broke Scott Stevens' franchise record for most apples. And
Not hits?
oh, thank you very much for saying that, Ryan Whitney. Jesper Bratt is the only player in the NHL with over 80 points and over 80 hits. The only player in the
Wow,
NHL.
okay. That's cool.
This
That's
is
a
a guy-
stat right there.
That's a stat. This is a guy who people just, he's small, he's soft. No, he's hard to get off the puck. He throws the body around. Elite playmaker,
Holy
great skater,
fuck.
one of the
We're under
most
the hood
underrated
now, baby.
players in the league. And for the audience listening, this is a guy who in Montreal at dinner, Ryan Whitney and Matt Murley said would not crack power play 1 on a good NHL team.
I don't remember that.
Holy
Well,
fuck.
it was a
Pasha's
late night
bringing out
dinner,
the
but you
receipts.
guys-
I don't
said it.
remember that
It was a
one.
late night dinner, but you guys said
I
it.
do remember being owed $4,200 by somebody on this
It's
podcast right
$3,800.
now.
Thank you very much. And that will
No,
be
it's
paid-
not. It's
Yes, it
42
is.
if the
It's-
Rangers get in. If the Rangers get in.
Well, if my
42.
grandma had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. It's not 42.
Okay.
It's
Pasha, you know what?
Really?
If I said that, I take it back. How about that? I'm a
Okay,
man
perfect.
that can Jesper
Yes.
Bratt, very fun to watch, dynamic. The team is just miserable to watch. And Kovacevic, imagine next game and the media comes to Kovacevic after he just starts running. He's like, ah!
He's like, no English, no English. They're like, dude, you're from Hamilton. Hey, it reminds me of I had my coach in the minors, Pat Conager. This guy hated my guts so much. Hated my guts so much. He got his tires slashed at his apartment.
No.
He had a team meeting. He's like, hey, just want to let you guys know I have video surveillance. If anyone wants to, fess up to this now, there'll be no issues. Everyone's like, what is this guy talking about? He calls the captains and he's like, hey, go tell Jans if he wants to admit to it now, like everything will be fine. He thought I keyed poked
Took his tires out.
I'm like,
What kind of
dude, I
knife
don't
did you use?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know where you live, man. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, hey, we'll
Yeah,
see.
right.
I'm getting the video.
It was your
Hated
uncle.
me.
It was
Wow,
one
and
of your
there's no
uncles.
chance he had video. He is no. It's like my dad, Big Dan Whitney. I crashed my car into a basketball hoop in Ann Arbor when I was out at the program, and I called him. I'm like, Dad, I just came out of the movies and somebody buried my car. What do I do? He's like, Where were you? I told him the movie theater. He's like, all right, I'm gonna call over. I'm sure they have video cameras.
Oh,
and I was
no.
like, oh no. I remember just like closing the
buckled?
cell phone. It was like the first cell phone ever, and I was sitting in my billet house. I was like, what do I do? He knew there was no video. He just knew I was lying. I had to call him right back. He's
Oh
like,
my God, you caved, eh?
yeah. And then my billets kicked me out of the house for that. Crazy sequence of events for you.
No
your
way.
boy
They
Whit.
kicked you
Yeah.
out for that was the reason?
That was like the first reason. It wasn't even their car either. The other reason was I obviously these people weren't huge fans of your boy, but I didn't read a book that we were supposed to read and do a report on for Pioneer High School in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So I called my billet mom and I was like, hey, I'm reading this book. I don't really get it. And the teacher told me if I get the movie that it'll really help me understand for my report I have to write. So she called the teacher and said, did you tell him to get the movie? And the teacher's like, no. And next thing you know, all my stuff was packed. They packed up for me, dropped it all off at the A Squared Ice Cube Arena in
You
Arbor.
pulled a George Costanza.
Yeah, I know. I should have
why
just
did
gone
you
back.
need her to get you the movie?
Because I was going right to the rink, right? And then we were going to be at the rink till friggin' who knows when. Because then you actually go to
closed.
school. Now they don't go to school. We were going to school. And then we go to the rink. And then
Keith.
and then I just figured I'd watch it right when I got home. Nice, maybe a cup of hot chocolate, do my book report.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, I had nowhere to live. I was homeless for a day.
Oh,
so,
my God.
Yeah. I guess,
That's I love those billet stories. Oh, there was one, I won't say the name, but there was this like blanket downstairs in the basement on the couch. He had the room down there and he basically had the basement to himself, and he would tug off down there and he would just fucking blow in that, like the blanket thing.
Dude,
and
this guy needs a firing squad. That's ridiculous.
A blanket?
He wouldn't just grab tissues?
The billet mom came down at one point and was like, hey, do you mind stop doing whatever you're doing to the blanket? It's a family heirloom.
Oh my God. Oh my God. No.
Dude, this might be the... That
This
might
has to
be
be
the most
you.
like hockey culture has a problem story I've ever heard.
Just putting the VHS off.
Hey,
VHS is in, cranking
Those
in
are
the
my
family
mother's
heirloom.
ashes.
Just got grandma's quilt, just firing loads off in the family patches on the quilt.
Things walking around the
Jesus.
basement.
Yeah, that was my college blanket.
Pasha, we're done with you and your Devils. Get the fuck off the podcast.
Oh my
What
God.
hey, top to bottom, under the hood, not a lot going on there.
No,
No,
but Jesper
nothing.
Bratt. That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
pretty legit,
That is.
legit stat. He had one thing to give positivity wise, and you knew it was coming. And I actually teed him up, chirping Scott Stevens' record that he broke.
Since we already covered the Leafs, and we probably won't go back to about their them falling off the rails the other night. Couple bright spots, obviously Matthew Nyes being one of them. They gave a stat. There's only 3 players in the NHL with 25 goals and over 150 hits, and I believe it's Tom Wilson, Brady Tkachuk, and now Matthew Nyes. I think they have a unicorn in Matthew Nyes. Me and BXer were talking about in that segment you mentioned where I was all fired up about the Leafs, where we talked about him specifically, and like he's the type of player that makes me miss Hyman less. Like we didn't have a good net front guy. We didn't have a puck count on the forecheck and a guy who is relentlessly working. I think the high end for this guy is like the sky's the limit, and he's a dog, and he's the type of guy you need in order to win. So fired up about having this guy. And I think we were talking in the text about it. Like he's probably going to get like 8 times 9. Like that's a number that
I think he's gonna get offer sheeted.
Dude, don't say that to Biz.
Everyone's saying I the first time I saw this, I think it was Nick Kiprios on a Twitter clip, and it was basically like you saw what St. Louis has done. We'll get into them. What an awesome story that is. But those 2 players, Broberg and Holloway, like you give the offer sheets, and it's not at all near the money that Nyes would get. And I'm assuming Toronto would match, but it's just like he's so good. And with the cap going up, I think that what you've seen from the guys at St. Louis, like maybe offer sheets now will become a much bigger thing, a much more popular thing, because like how else are you going to get studs? You can't get them anymore. They don't end up going UFA.
And
Nyes,
why
like,
these guys have leverage, like the Wyatt Johnston one. Not to say he wasn't getting that money, but like that's the type of guy who would get offer sheeted, right?
Yeah,
if it got to
and so was
past
Nyes.
July 1st. And so was Nyes.
But I mean, it seems like he loves it there. He's been so good. There was a tweet also I read that Minnesota 2 years ago, I believe. I think they had Logan Cooley, they had Nyes, they had Brock Faber. Like the kid Jimmy Snuggerud still there. Like they didn't win it all. That was there's another couple NHLers too. Like that team, the fact they didn't win it. And we'll get into college hockey, exciting time of the year in a little bit later in the show.
And the fact that G just went to Minnesota for the Chiclets U video.
Yeah, gee, that was great.
Maybe not
Unreal.
the best time to drop it.
Yeah, I mean, I
self-admittedly.
dropped it on
Okay.
day 1 of fucking March Madness, the biggest mindsies move in my Chiclets fucking 8-year reign.
What were you thinking? It's like, hey,
Well, so there's a few
let's
reasons
drop a
why.
sandbagger during the final round of the Masters, guys.
Yeah, drop a Chiclets episode on Super Bowl Sunday. It's just the dumbest thing ever. So it had to go out before the end of March. So I didn't want to drop it next week right before the tournament because I thought it would have got lost in the shuffle with the March Madness and the college hockey tournament and the NHL. So I'm like, oh, we'll drop it this week. Ideally, it would have been Wednesday, but it wasn't done by Wednesday. So we're like, all right, fuck it. We'll just drop it Thursday. I thought Chiclets U was a wagon. I thought we could go up against March Madness. And
it's
we
like
did it.
Biz. We can beat the NFL Sundays too.
Yeah.
You're
We're
right on.
coming for you,
and Biz.
Goodell.
Yeah,
But
surprisingly,
great
the
job.
video is not doing bad though. I mean, it
No,
got
it's doing
100,000
awesome,
views.
dude.
The
Beautiful.
facilities are insane. Hot tubs, cold tubs, the saunas,
Incredible.
the oxygen bikes. It's insane what they got going on there. And just like all the NHL players that have come there, like more guys that have played 1,000 games that have gone to Minnesota than any other school. Like that's pretty cool.
shit.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
so-
a cool stat that you had. That was nice.
Yeah, they had no idea. I was rifling off those stats and they looked at me like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Wait,
Um,
I was thinking when you were talking, like talking to those guys about, the guys that had been there before, like when you were at college, did you know like what NHL guys? Well, you were crazy, like hockey, you knew a lot, but are there guys who were like, oh, Chris Shurry went here? I had no idea. Like,
Wait, are you saying that some people go to a school and have no clue that like a former NHL stud played there?
it seemed like with the two guys that G had, they had no clue.
About the history of the team. I don't
Right.
think that's a requirement. Just worry about your performance on the ice. Some of these guys, like all they actually know is hockey, like especially the ones who are at such a young age and they're phenoms because they're so dialed in. I don't necessarily think it's like disrespectful to not know the history. I
There's
think if
so
you're
much
like
though. Some of these schools have so many like random bullshit facts. Like Minnesota, everywhere you go, like there's some type of memorial of like an NHL player, the 1980 Olympic team, Herb Brooks. There's it's a lot to congest.
Well, Kovacevic just has to worry about start playing better himself. I think that Minnesota's like a true blue blood, call it like a power program. So, G, great job on that.
Great
Thank you,
job.
That was
thank
an
you.
awesome
you and
video.
Fishy.
Yeah, awesome job, Fishy. Back to Saturday night. I am so all in on the Montreal Canadiens right now. Like, I think going to the Four Nations in Montreal, and I hadn't been to a game since I played there 13 years ago, maybe 12.
You
14
always said it
years
was
ago.
your favorite building too.
It was my favorite building to play. I played well in there. I had a couple goals in there, a couple assists. I also took the biggest hit of my career that we talked about on the Amazon night we did, but I loved it. And then going back there, I was like, holy shit, I just forgot. And I think it's the number one crowd, and maybe you guys will disagree. It's the number one hockey IQ crowd. Like, you'll watch a Canadiens game, and right now when they're in the mix, like nothing's better. The noise and the vibe in there, little plays that in many arenas, 90% of arenas, people have no clue what it was. They get like cheers there, right? Like, I'm not saying block shots either, something like that's obvious. I'm talking like a little beautiful short breakout pass. Like the crowd's like, like you notice that they really get the game, that they're following along, and they go down 4-1 to the Colorado Avalanche. The Colorado Avalanche are they're just something else right now. McKinnon's like not even scoring at the rate that we've become accustomed to. They're still winning. And it looks like it's done third period, 4-1, and they come storming back. Biz, were you guys following along with that? What did you think? Did you get to see any of it?
Yeah, that was the game we were more focused on because of just how much value it had as far as like standings and especially what it meant to Montreal. And you get to watch like fucking Makar, McKinnon, and all the new guys for the lineup with Colorado. And buddy, like I'll start with Suzuki. He's probably been their MVP all season as far as consistency and what he's brought. And I feel like he's kind of that silent assassin, doesn't get talked about enough. And now with them in the playoff mix, kind of starting to get his recognition and probably the next guy over, it's probably between Lane Hudson and Cole Caulfield. And it kind of reminds me of Washington, how they I wouldn't say they had like snubs necessarily, maybe Logan Thompson, but Suzuki, a bit of a snub for Canada. Some people thought didn't get the phone call. Cole Caulfield had as many goals as he did at that time, didn't get the call. So it seems like that rest and a little bit of chip on their shoulders has kind of, made them fucking a little bit hungrier down the stretch here. And I mean, it kind of brought up the debate in the post show at Hockey Night in Canada with Ron Elliott and Bieksa about Lane Hudson and Rookie of the Year. Like what he's been able to do, especially down the stretch. Like they lost Goulet. Like he played just over 28 minutes against the Avs the other night, +2 player, like getting difficult minutes. Like I think if he's able to keep doing what he's done the whole season long, and I mean, it's probably a 3-headed race right now with Dustin Wolf and Celebrini. But if they sneak into playoffs, man, I think that it's his trophy to lose essentially at this point. So Great to see them playing as well as they've played down the stretch, getting everybody involved. Like Dvorak was a healthy scratch a little bit, wasn't playing great. He's elevated his play. Josh Anderson. So overall from and I'll go back to what I said before about Sheldon Keefe and how he was kind of a snapshot in the press conference. Well, that same night, they got St. Louis showing up to the rink the same time as Cole Caulfield, and he's chumming it up with his players. So a lot has to be said about him making them feel confident, getting them all on the same page after a tough start, and really getting this group into the position that he's got them and making them feel comfortable working with them and keeping that good mojo environment there in Montreal. So I think they have over a 50% chance to make playoffs right now, Jans.
I would love for them to get in, but to go back to Lane Hudson, what he's doing as a defenseman, as an undersized defenseman coming in this year, he's got 55 points on a team. I mean, they're a good team. No one probably had them making the playoffs this year to start the season. What he's doing with that group, I think he deserves the Calder. Obviously, Celebrini's having an awesome year too, but he's kind of one of those guys you expected it from, which you shouldn't take that away from him. But I just think as a defenseman, a young, skilled defenseman like that to come in and to be able to put up the numbers that he's been able to do and not look lost at all. I know he's a minus player right now, but it's still like he's been solid for them in all three zones. And Marty too. Like you see them there. They almost have a fight in practice a couple days ago with Wi-Fi and Pizzetti. And then after you see Marty because, as an ex-player, like you just want that to end. And then guys laughing, you see him like in the pile with them laughing, hitting them, getting them going. So I think he's pushing all the right buttons with that group. I think everyone in that locker room knows that he's done it all too and been there and done it. And I couldn't imagine like those undersized guys like Caulfield and Hudson playing for a guy like Marty, who in his era coming up when there was no undersized guys, like the amount of tricks that he's probably teaching them of just, how to protect yourself, where to keep the puck. I think Marty, if they make the playoffs, Marty, should be up there for Coach of the Year as well.
And a sad storyline for the Canadians was Brendan Gallagher brought up that his mom passed away earlier in March, and just gave quotes about how much she meant to their family and cherishing memories of her. And then he goes out, he ties it up with about 6 minutes left against the Islanders. I think maybe Thursday or Friday, and just to see like what he's done, how long he's been on the Canadians, right? Like that guy's a heart and soul guy that's battled so many injuries because of the way he plays. And, you think like his mom and dad have a lot to do with like raising him to become that type of player, like to have that drive, to have that commitment, to be able to play like that for that long. And that was pretty incredible. Then you see a fan who had, I believe, won like a
Hockey Fights Cancer
jersey from the Canadians, reached out to Brendan Gallagher and said, "Hey, I'd love to give this back to you." And he wrote him back, "Yeah, let's do a jersey swap." So such a classy move by that fan, thinking of his family losing his mom. So that was really hard. And it's cool to see his team kind of get around him, and he's pointing to the sky, touching his heart after he scores big goals for the Canadians as they try to get in. Slavkovsky, he has, I think, 14 points in 13 games since the Four Nations break. It seems like just like last year, he kind of really turned it on in the second half. So they have some special things cooking. And for St. Louis...
Wait. He had a really interesting quote, Slavkovsky.
Yeah, about Brady?
About Brady Tkachuk. I'll let you take it away, Biz. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, I was gonna pop in and say that. Yeah, he said that like after watching Four Nations, like it was kind of like a bit of an epiphany for him, saying like that's how like I want to be known to play hockey. Like I want to be able to bring it every night like that. And that's a kid at a young age who's admitting being inspired by a guy down the road's play and how he thinks he should approach it night in, night out. And I mean, Brady's even a little bit banged up right now, but he ends up fucking scoring the other night. He's getting in the mix, getting it on the forecheck. And also, like, Slavkovsky, man, like, he's a fucking young kid still. Like, imagine a couple off seasons in the gym for that guy and then him having a bit of that mean streak, like a Tom Wilson or a Brady Tkachuk. That could be a fucking force to be reckoned with. And he had 2 goals the other night, Whit. And I want to throw it back over to you. How much emphasis do you put on, for the Rookie of the Year? Like, let's say Celebrini still reaches the 30-goal mark and gets like 65 points, even though he hasn't played a full season. Do you put a little bit more emphasis for Dustin Wolf and Lane Hudson and the fact that in these last 10, 15 games, like they have to bring it, and if they don't, their teams don't make playoffs. Like, do you put more emphasis for the trophy on that?
Yeah, but I kind of look at Dustin Wolf's been incredible, but not playing every game to me has some sort of effect. And Lane Hudson, like, I mean, he came into the season, he wasn't on the first power play, and I think maybe 2 weeks into the Chiclets season, we were like, Matheson was there, we're like, all right, he's going to take that over, and it happened quick. And now the way he's played, how quick he is, I feel so vindicated in a way. Now, I was just going off what I saw at BU, and the assistant coach, Kim Brandvols, mentioned to me, yeah, he's going to get 50 points next year. And I was like, what? I think he said 50 to 60. I saw him Wednesday at BU's practice before I went to Halifax. He's like, remember what I said to you? I'm like, yeah, dude, I kind of thought you were crazy. So just to kind of see him in college and then see him doing the exact same things now, he's my guy. I also think it does hurt a little bit. Celebrini's in San Jose. The team is really struggling. 10 o'clock. They even play a lot of 10:30 Eastern start time. They'll play 7:30 out there. And then you got Lane Hudson in the top 3 hockey market in North America getting a team into the playoffs. So I think he's your guy. Right now, I believe Hudson is plus 100. Celebrini's still the favorite, minus 120. Celebrini and Will Smith and William Eklund have all been like phenomenal lately. And like San Jose's future, I think it's going to be nice coming up here. I really like what they're doing. But Lane Hudson as a defenseman playing that many minutes, playing that well. Also, the crowd, they're obsessed with him too. But it kind of goes into what you were saying about St. Louis. You know how we've talked, like the NHL is not a developmental league. Like you're not there. The AHL coaches are working with you. It's really about producing better players, helping guys improve, helping them become NHL regulars. NHL, it's like, hey, buddy, it's win or go home. Eat what you kill. Figure it out. We don't have time. I feel like St. Louis is probably the best coach at just helping guys improve. Like just his past, what he had to do to become a star in the NHL, like being on waivers, being told he had no chance, and then now like it seems like guys are making huge leaps with him. And that's something that shows like this guy isn't just winning games as a coach. Like these players are improving. And yeah, they're young. They're going to improve naturally, but he just seems like someone you'd love to play for.
Like credibility and calmness like take over every time. Like it's almost like the players, like when he speaks, like they don't want to let him down. That's the feeling you want to have as a head coach. And I think he's earned that respect, and not only how he works with them, but like how he treats them. He treats them like they're his buddies. Like I'm sure there's time to crack the whip, but man, that's as big of a player's coach as you'll see. Now, going back to the Lane Hudson argument, like I get what you're saying. Like Dustin Wolf, I think like if he probably played half the amount of games right now and played well, he'd hit the 50 mark, which if his numbers continue or even get a little bit better, what did Allmark play as far as games when he won the Vezina? I feel like him and Swayman shared the net.
Yeah, but that's other goalies. Like I'm saying, like in the argument of like players who are playing every game compared to a goalie who's not, like I just always lean towards the guys who are in the lineup every night.
Okay. I guess it's a little bit more difficult. Like typically it takes goalies. Like when do you often see a 23-year-old goalie who plays that many games with those numbers? So it's all relative to where like usually goalies don't develop till 26, 27. Like rarely are you seeing this situation. So there's still some meaningful hockey left to be played, but if it goes to where because Goulet's not there and they're relying on Lane Hudson the way they did last game and he's playing 25 minutes down the stretch and he plays like he did the other night, I think given they're in playoffs and how much ice time he's playing, it's his trophy to lose at this point because he is going to play every game. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I think getting them in the playoffs it will be a huge factor for Hudson. But it's also too like Celebrini. You know, have they ever done a split like two guys win it or no? You can't do that.
They would have to tie on votes, which is rare.
Yeah, unless Celebrini was like a clear cut, like he had 40 more points than him. But like if a D-man's somewhat close in points and in numbers and gets his team in the playoffs and playing meaningful games and meaningful minutes, like you said, Biz, I think it should be leaned more towards him. Not that I love Macklin Celebrini, just as much as you all do, but I just think it's Hudson's to lose now.
Gee, I would love if you could look up. I should have done this before the show. Has there ever been a year or 2 year stretch where two finalists for the Hobey Baker were also finalists the next year for the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the
Wow.
Year. Forget
What a
them
nugget.
forget them being teammates.
Teammate, yeah.
Like, there's no way that's happened, but I don't even know if it's happened with just 2 players up for the Hobie, then 2 players up for the Calder. That's what's kind of crazy. So maybe you could try to look. I don't even know. Does ChatGPT even do that?
Unreal
Ask Sheldon Keefe.
impromptu trivia question, Whit. That was genius level stuff.
That was great.
Holy fuck.
Staying in the East wildcard, guys, it was kind of, I think the West has quickly and surprisingly become a little bit more exciting just based on, like, Ottawa has kind of taken over, right? I think Ottawa, and God, the Sens fans, guys, they were furious at me. I think 2 shows ago, I was like, let's go. Here we go. You're in. And then they had a little bit of a skid. They figured things out. I think it's safe to say, don't kill me, that unless things go completely sideways, the Senators are in. The Senators are in, and they will face the winner of the Atlantic Division. Now, the next spot, we've been rooting on Columbus, one of the coolest storylines of the year after what they went through, and they've just hit a wall. And it stinks. We have Matthieeu Olivier on the show, guys. It's over an hour. We did it Wednesday last week. Unreal interview. This guy is classic.
Yeah.
His story's amazing. And it just sucks that Columbus can't figure it out right now. I think they've lost 6 in a row. They have 3 of a possible, 18 points in their last 9 games. And somehow they're kind of still alive. But it does suck to see them hit this skid right now. I think people were kind of waiting for it to happen, and then at one point figured maybe it's not going to happen. So I don't know what you think of that team, Biz. Detroit, man, Jesus. These guys, what's going on with them? It's now turned into basically 5 teams for 1 spot. Somehow the Islanders are alive. If the Islanders get the playoffs.
Please no. Please
They
no.
are just lurking, aren't they? And the fact they're doing this without Barzell too, man. They trade Nelson and no Barzell. Like, man, just a savage, greasy team who brings you down right into the mud and then mucks it up with you. That would be a boring team to watch, and a team that maybe they'll just anaconda chokehold Washington if they end up sneaking in. So what I think about the team is I think that we're doing everything in our power to give them a Chiclets bump. Like, this is us telling Columbus Nation, we love you guys. We love your fan base. We love what your team's about. And we are giving you every bit of power and energy to get you back in the winning ways, because it's going to be a hell of a push to the end. The way that St. Louis is playing right now, I feel like that's the only spot available. I don't think that Minnesota can be touched, right? As much as they've been struggling and as boring as they've been, they're probably going to get that first wild card, correct?
I think so, but God, who knows? They actually had, who did they beat? They had a huge win over the weekend. I'm drawing a blank. I'll check right here. But yeah, back to the East, it does seem like, I don't know, Detroit has just kind of disappeared a little bit here. The Rangers somehow, let's talk about the Rangers. Let's talk about Saturday afternoon. I tweeted out Igor Shesterkin should have got $17 million a season. I don't know how they won that game. Vancouver was dominating them. The shots ended up 39-12. And the Rangers won. Also, maybe one of the best games Quinn Hughes has ever played. I know it sounds crazy for this random regular season game. I think he hit right around 25 miles an hour, which is like the fastest anyone's gone this season. And as he's going end-to-end doing it, Sam Rosen's like, holy shit. He didn't swear. He's like, this guy can fly. He's just flying around everyone. But sure enough, Shesterkin's just sitting there. And then JT Miller gets the empty netter, just kind of buries the Canucks in a huge game for Vancouver. Like, I don't know what's going on in Vancouver right now. Pedersen's now hurt. He left that game, I believe. And it's just like nothing can go right for the Canucks this year, Biz. Nothing at all.
Oh, man. Did you see Quinn Hughes break Rempe's ankles too on the blue line? That's how I looked going against D-men like that. Like, you go out all confident. I'm gonna pressure this guy, make him make a play. Whoop. Whoopsie daisy.
Matt Karkner made you look like that. Like, I think anyone, Quinn Hughes would have legit. Like,
I would have lost my soul.
Would have been dislocated.
I would have lost my soul. It just kind of feels like last year everything went right for the Canucks, whereas this year just nothing is, and they can't. I mean, they've dealt with injury bug. They've dealt with their fair share of drama. Games like that where they dominate and can't pull a win out of their ass, but. Oh, man, that's got to be a frustrating season if they end up missing out. But it's not looking good, man. I really like this St. Louis team, boys.
Dude.
I really like this St. Louis team.
I watched them play against the Preds. They look phenomenal. They have now won 6 in a row. Kyrou gets his 3rd straight 30-goal season. Like, when he's on, his speed, and we saw it in that remember we saw him in Vegas, Biz?
Before
the fastest
skater. He had all of his buddies in town. He's like, I'm going to pay my tab tomorrow at Hakkasan with the fastest skater. Goes out and beats McDavid and all the guys.
Took it down, and he's flying around. Robert Thomas. This is Parayko's out, right? He's still injured. They're doing this. Binnington. I said a couple weeks ago, like, Winnipeg having the season they had only to deal with St. Louis, and then maybe Merle's on game notes was like, this is kind of, Keith said it, I think, this is kind of like when they won it. Like, who knows what could happen with this team? But I counted them out. I think they went over. Monty went there. They had a great little run, and then they kind of hit the skids. And then now everything's flipped again. A lot of is being made about their schedules pretty easy right now.
Yeah.
Where they got the Preds, they got the Blackhawks, they got a couple different games where it's like, hey, this is a lot easier than, say, Calgary's schedule. But it doesn't really matter. Hey, put them in front of you. You still got to win the games, Keith.
Yeah, and those, like Biz said about that Toronto game, those trap games, sometimes late in the season when you're playing the teams that have nothing to lose, they can come up and bite you in the rear end. But I think a lot of this obviously Binnington having confidence in himself after the 4 Nations, but I think the group, like their whole team, everyone in the NHL was watching these games, and they're watching Binnington, making saves against USA in the finals, just playing unbelievable, winning them that championship. Like, their whole group was probably like, all right, boys, we got the Jordan Binnington from 16 or whatever. Like, this is our time. We got to go win some games here. And he's came back with the ultimate confidence in his own game too. So cool story there. I love it too, because Monty obviously being friends with Merles, and from everything you heard, just being a beloved coach, and Robbie Thomas, their whole team is just like they're a group that you want to root for. It just seems like St. Louis, a blue collar town. They play that type of game. They always have. It's never a fun building to play in. And whoever has to play them, if they get in first round, that's not going to be a fun series, because they've been playing must win games for the last 2 months, it seems.
Yeah, and they're all in that perfect age where, I think they're all in like 26, 27-year-old, their whole core group. I mean, Schenner's getting up there, maybe Buchnevich a little bit, but I feel like they've been rejuvenated by that young core squad. But I just want to go quickly back over to the East too, because you talked about Ottawa being in that spot, and it looks like they are going to make playoffs. They do have Columbus 3 more times to close out the season. So Columbus, to a certain degree, does control their own destiny if they're able to win. Like, even if they're able to get like 5 of those 6 points, like that's a big swing and gets them back in the thick of things. So going back to that,
big one against the Islanders tonight.
Yes, that's a huge game. Who would have thought Islanders Columbus on March 24th would just be this enormous game with playoff implications? That's why we play the games. St. Louis, the last thing I wanted to say after watching the game, like, it seems like their lines have rounded out perfectly, but the biggest thing is Dylan Holloway. He has 58 points.
Buddy, you guys
was it him who scored in overtime the other night? Or was it
I don't know.
Or was it
Broberg?
What game? Broberg or Holloway?
No, it's the other Oilers guy that they got.
Sick.
And I think Oilers fans right now.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it before we go to Olivier. Let's do it.
The Broberg one, I kind of get. Like, it was over $4 million. Like, I understand it. The Holloway one, just around $2 million. Like, I don't get that, and I don't think any Oilers fans understand. And it's like, even. Okay, say he hadn't had that nice run. He's playing with Leon in the playoffs. He looks great. Like, that's what you were like, what the hell? You got to match this. Even if he hadn't done that, you could say, all right, well, I kind of get it. We haven't seen much from him yet. We're not going to match it. You'd seen it. You'd seen the speed, the playmaking. Like, this is the absolute worst case scenario, what's happening right now, where he's not only playing, he's completely exceeded what Oilers fans would have been disappointed with in St. Louis. Like, if he went and had 45 points, it's like, oh, we could have used that. He might get 70 points. And it's crazy. $2 million. Dude.
1 point, isn't it 1.7?
Is it not even 2?
I think it was 1.7 for 2 years. And that's what I can't understand is, like, Like the whole roster for Edmonton, and keep in mind they got Frederick out right now. Kane will probably be back towards the end of the first round if they even get there, if they don't get beaten 5 by LA. And then obviously Connor McDavid and Leon out. So that's a lot of guys coming in. But if Jeff Skinner, and no insult to him, is making $3 million, like why didn't Holloway exist in your plans there? And then it goes back to like, Ken Holland didn't sign these guys before it even got to that point where, like, did he already know he was on the way out, or the way they were treating him? Is he like, fuck you, I don't give a fuck? And then his buddy Doug Armstrong's like, we've talked about this before. Do you think that Doug Armstrong ends up doing that if Ken Holland's still the GM of the Edmonton Oilers? And you go back to Broberg.
He said he would do it to his mom. Remember?
Okay, fair enough. But, buddy, Broberg was their best defenseman in the finals against Florida. I thought he was better overall than Bouchard. Okay, say he wasn't. He was their second best defenseman. To me, that is such a big fumble. They got older, they got smaller, and they got slower. Like, Skinner's played well over the last couple games, but we're talking about McLeod. We're talking about Fogle. We're talking about Holloway, Broberg. Like, are all these guys not 6'2", like 200 pounds, maybe over? Like, what
maybe
the
a
fuck
little
is going?
shorter, but
why would you want that much turnover on a team that just brought you to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals is beyond me. And to something that we're going to look to as a complete fumble if this team's not able to get out of it. But hey, a big win without McDavid and Leon in the lineup. It was the first time I believe it's ever happened since they've been playing together where they were both out due to injury. It was the third time it's happened. Both times before, it was when one of them was either resting and one was injured, or maybe they were both resting for playoffs. So they're 2-1 now. Big win against Seattle. I thought Nuge was awesome. He had a slow start
right now.
He's hot. He's finding his game. So maybe these big guys and those 4 guys being out of lineup is not the worst thing for these other guys to get feeling good, get the mojo going, and hopefully propel them to another run. But it's
the feeling. The feeling this year is so different, dude.
So different.
It's like, oh my God. Like, I think seeing those two in St. Louis, seeing how disappointing Arvidsson and Skinner have been overall, and then just like everything that's happened this year is just like, oh fuck, like what happened here? Now, who knows, right? Like, I was talking with Stoff. I was like, dude, I'd love to see like an 8-2 run here going into the playoffs, get some mojo. I don't know what's going to happen. It sounds like Leon will be out until April. I don't know when McDavid's back. We don't even know what happened to Leon.
What's Stoff's mood like? Was he confident? Was he saying, "Oh, we're
always
turn
confident"?
Always confident about them.
Always confident. A man of his stature, they don't lose belief, man.
Yeah,
he's carrying that whole city on his back. Yes, Leon and Connor were out, but Stoff was in. So I'll tell you right now, Stoff does not bend. So it's just weird. It's so Holloway pisses me off way more. And it's kind of crazy being a defenseman. You think I love Broberg, but 2.2 is the deal. 2-year deal. It was 2 years too.
They should have 2.
Okay,
You would
my
have
apologies.
2.
He has 58 points.
My
and
apologies.
He's one of the fastest players in the league. Like, what the hell are we doing here? So, also, last thing before we throw it over to Olivier, I was just looking at numbers. So, right now, Leon has 49 goals, right? So, he'll get 50. I mean, I assume he's going to be back and get one, no doubt for him. But last year, there was 4 50-goal scorers, and there was 17 40-goal scorers in the NHL. This year, there's only going to be one 50-goal scorer. And at the most, that's being pretty lenient with what I think can happen the rest of the way. We might get 8 or 9 40-goal scores. So kind of a crazy drop-off.
Well, we talked about it with Mr. Ice, and that's a good time to segue to IceCon before we go to Olivier. But goal scoring was way down at the start of the year. I think by almost like a whole goal. And it was he went on like a 18-game losing streak for picking overs. So I don't know if it was just like guys were just ice cold. I don't know if it's because goalies improved. But I think the weirdest part about it was I believe that even save percentage was down. So like not only was goal scoring, but save percentage. So just a bizarre first half of the year. I have felt like games more recently have been like crazy. Like even the other night on Hockey Night in Canada, 5-4. Like there was Edmonton's game was 5-4 against Seattle. So was Montreal's 5-2 for for Toronto. So I feel like later in the season, it's getting a little sloppier.
Oh, I watched Chicago Philly a bit yesterday.
What was that? Pond
You
hockey?
have never seen a pond hockey game. You haven't seen a pond hockey game like this on a pond in your life, let alone an NHL rink. It was 4-3 with like 18 minutes to go in the second period, I think. It was crazy.
I guess I haven't been watching much Blackhawks. I've been paying attention to the other teams, but Bedard's on the wing. So that other kid's playing. So interesting to see that they kind of moved him over despite his face-off percentage going up because of me. But Whit, I think we've kind of went long on the front half here. Should we send it over to the nail gun?
Yeah, I have a couple. I just have a couple things.
gotta
So when I
pee.
asked if two Hobie finalists had ever also been two Rookie of the Year finalists the following season, Lane Hudson wasn't even a Hobie finalist last year.
should have been.
He completely made that up. I don't know how he wasn't. It was Celebrini, Cutter, Gauthier, and Jackson Blake, who's nasty on Carolina. He is sick. So they have.
And we're
going to
talk about them after the break.
Okay.
8-game heater.
Pat Maroon.
Yeah.
Pat Maroon. Chicago Blackhawks Pat Maroon announces his retirement in a pregame interview with Darren Pang in St. Louis. Very kind of emotional moment. You could tell, like, it's time for me and my family to go on to the next chapter. And just talking to Panger, who was the Blues color guy when he was on St. Louis, and his 3 Stanley Cups in a row. 1 with St. Louis, 2 with Tampa. What a run. And then Maroon scored in that game against Philly on Sunday. Very happy for him, man. And I imagine how tough it is, but I kind of like how he came out and did it with around 10 games to go. Hopefully, get some stick taps from all the boys he's playing against and just get some credit at the end here.
Yeah, I think it was Panger who maybe mentioned, like, hey, are you thinking about playing next year? And he basically said no to Panger. He goes, man, what an opportunity to maybe do it this pregame. The fact that your family's here in St. Louis, like this is where you won your first Stanley Cup and brought it home. Like, and then, yeah, they had that interview. I think we should actually play it right now.
Well, Pat, your 840th NHL game. How does that feel?
Feels good, yeah. I mean, obviously we all know the circumstances, and 840, I would have never thought.
What are the circumstances for you?
I mean, for me, I just think I laid it all out there every night, and for me, I just did everything the right way, and I try to play an honest player, and yeah, I mean, it's going to be an emotional night for me tonight. Obviously, we all know what's going to happen, but I accomplished everything in my career that I would never have thought, and I bet against all the odds. Everyone doubted me, and like you said, I'm 840 in.
When you look around here and see so many friends and old teammates, what's it like for you?
It's tough. It's sometimes you got to give up everything you know and everything you dreamed of your whole life. And I just know it's time for me, and it's time for my family to go start a new chapter in our lives. And, to get to have a special moment tonight and be in St. Louis, to have my family come in town. And I won a Stanley Cup here, and, I'm just going to finish this year as every game is going to be my last game. I'm going to play as hard as I can and do everything I can to keep winning hockey. And, but yeah, this is all I know, Vanger. So it's tough. I mean, no one will know. It's hard to go through things like this. You can't really process it, but I think it's best for me and my family to go start a new chapter.
Really proud of you, pal.
Thanks, Panger. I love you. Thanks for everything.
So just obviously very emotional, and a guy who, just based on like not only the work he's put in as a player, but from an entertainment value as well, like he deserves to get a little swan song on the way out. Some, as you mentioned, the stick taps and some love from the boys, and go out in that type of fashion. Not many guys get to go out on their own terms, and it seems like he's going to be able to do that. And just a legend, 3 cups. So congrats to Patty. I'm sure he's going to be doing media in his post career, because he's been doing all those commercials, the glass commercial with Ric Flair there in St. Louis. So what a career, what a run, and looking forward to getting him on to talk about it.
Yeah, considering our interview with him, I mean, he got kicked off a team in the AHL. It's pretty incredible what he ended up doing. So congrats, Patty. And with that, we're going to throw it over to Biz's #1 heavyweight in the NHL, a true nail gun, MATHIEU Olivier, who got a 6-year contract extension at $3 million a year, $18 million for this guy. Awesome story how he became the player he is, and an incredible insight medically to something that he's been through in his career and how it's changed his game. So with that, Mathieu Olivier. What up, guys? This episode is brought to you by Body Armor Flash IV. Body Armor Flash IV is packed with electrolytes and provides faster and longer-lasting hydration with no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or dyes. After the week in Halifax we needed some Flash IV. I crushed one on the way home. G, what do you got right now? Your go-to still fruit punch?
No, you know what, Whit? I'm switching over to the cucumber lime. I love these things. And I actually got myself a bachelor party this weekend in Scottsdale, playing tons of golf, drinking tons of Pink Whitney, but I'll also be drinking tons of Body Armor Flash IV. Going to keep me super, super hydrated, so I'm good for the Atlanta trip.
It's not just cucumber lime. They got strawberry kiwi as a flavor. They got tropical punch. Body Armor Flash IV gives your body the rehydration it needs to recover. This week only, head on over to a 7-Eleven and use the 7-Eleven app for $1 rewards and get your Body Armor Flash IV for $1. That's $1. Go to 7-Eleven, use the 7-Eleven app, $1 rewards, Body Armor Flash IV for $1. I'm going to go with fruit punch. G's going to go with cucumber lime. Just pick a flavor and enjoy, and your body will thank you later. Body Armor Flash IV. That's where it's all at. 7-Eleven. Go check it out right now. Guys, this NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, and that's where DraftKings comes in. That just means there's more time for your favorite team to figure things out, and games left for you to get in on the action at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Hockey League. The NHL is the fastest game on ice, and you can make fast live bets during any game on DraftKings Sportsbook. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. A $5 bet on your favorite team to win, and you get $200 in bonus bets instantly into your account. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Chiclets. That's code Chiclets for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. We are now pleased and honored to be joined by Biz's favorite player in the National Hockey League and a man who deservingly so just secured the bag for the next 6 seasons. Columbus Blue Jackets forward Mathieu Olivier. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, not much, guys. What's going on?
Is it Matthew or Mathieu?
Both. It's originally French version, but no one can say it in English. So I'm actually surprised your French is like, you act like you can't speak anymore. You still got it, eh?
I can't speak English or French. I kind of like 50% of both. So both languages, they say I'm a little bit dyslexic, but I still have the accent. I can still speak it better, I can understand it better than I could speak it. But but we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. And you actually grew up in Biloxi, Mississippi, or at least were born there because your father was a hockey player. And from a young age, you were just traveling around as a family, going to wherever he was playing hockey, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I was born there. I moved back to Quebec City when I was like 3 months old, and then we bounced around. We were in Oklahoma City for a bit, then Houston, and then bounced around for a couple of years, ended up in Germany, and then moved back to Quebec when I was like 7. So grew up all over the place.
So he retired when you were 7. You guys went back home. Where was your first time like skating, like maybe first year mites or anything? Was that in Germany, or were you not even really going yet?
Yeah, first year I played organized hockey was in Germany. So they didn't have like a starting age there. It was just whenever you were good enough to start playing, to get out there. So I think I was like 4 or 5 years old and was playing with older kids. And I just remember it being like great. Like I didn't feel like I was younger than anyone. They were all like nice to me and I was just playing. So I was just happy to get it going.
Was your dad a nail gun as well, as the kids say?
He was different than I am. He was like a smaller offensive D-man, but he played like in the coast in the 90s. So he always told me that he had to be absolutely insane because he had to create space for himself. So like he'll pump my tires every now and then, but he always tells me he was crazier than I am. He'll always have that over me. Still scared of him to this day. But
have you ever seen his wires cross? Like when they did, would he go crazy?
Yeah, I seen it a couple times. So when we went back to Quebec, he played in that Quebec Fighting League for a bit.
No shit.
Wow. He was one of the best D-men in the league. So they kind of just left him alone. But I remember this one time he's like skating up the ice and some guy was like going after him, whatever. And some guy just like, grabbed his stick, two hands him right in the back of the calf. And I just remember like him turning around, gloves were flying everywhere. And he was just like full UFC mount on the guy, just going to town on him. And next thing we know, like I think a day or two after he was going to get a cup of coffee at Tim Hortons, the guy walks in like full raccoon, like
the guy he got on the ground that he's pumping his eyes shut?
The guy was working there. Yeah, he was pumping him. Yeah, guy. They like actually had a cup of coffee together and stuff. So I remember that was like, whoa, that's insane to me. So
I'm actually looking right now. I can't believe I didn't check this before I asked you the question, because 1 year on the Oklahoma City Blazers, he had 302 penalty minutes.
Okay,
so
there you go.
With 40, and then the next year had 48 points in 51 games. So yeah, he probably has the right to tell you, buddy, you may be tough, but I still got that dad strength on you.
Yeah, I'm never gonna try him ever in my life, even if he's older than I am. I've seen some stuff just bothered me.
Was he coaching you like when you did start when you guys moved back home?
Yeah, he was helping, coaching, either head coach or just helping out. He was coaching the Q for a bit there. He was 4 years in Victoriaville when I was like in Pee-wee Bantam, so he was helping out when he could. But he was obviously coached most of the way.
That's what I was going to ask you. When he was in Victo, you weren't with him?
No, I got into the league the year he left. So
okay, yeah.
Then he changed jobs. He became kind of the head hockey ops guy for the development in Lévis, which is where I grew up, just South Shore, Quebec City. So kind of became like the head guy there and helped develop kids to the Q.
I know it was before your time, but had you heard of the legend of Keith Yandel in Moncton at that point?
I did hear the legend of Keith Yandel. Also, Jans, I don't know if you remember this, probably not, but you socked me right behind the Florida net my first year in the league. Gave me the fake rim around with the fake slap shot on the control breakout, and I bit on it so hard you just scooted right by me.
That's your welcome to the league moment, dude.
You
always got to get the guys that are playing their first couple games. You got to get them when they don't see it that often. So I'm sorry for doing that to you.
No, you're all good. It was the COVID season, so after a couple times I stopped biting on it, but
only took you a few times, eh?
Yeah,
that's what Jans used to do. Check the game notes, and he'd see the guys who only played a few games who he could get. So when they were first on the forecheck, it's like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, no, I bit on it hard. No one gave me a heads up, so I guess that's on me though. I should have known.
Well, looking at like your numbers and your career, like I guess your dad played, so that probably has something to do with you playing and falling in love with the game. Like when you were younger, were you a real skilled guy? Were you always flying around? It seems like your speed is like your biggest asset. So like as you grew as a player, like what came first, what came last type stuff?
I kind of just developed everything later than usual. It's funny you say that my speed's good, because I remember when I was getting drafted to the Q, and they were saying like it was horrendous. I couldn't skate really well. I had to do a lot of power skating and a lot of coaching lessons, but I think I was always a smart player, kind of top 1-2 players where I was, coming up, but never really like highly touted, just kind of barely got drafted in the Q. At that time, I think they drafted only 8 rounds of 15-year-olds, and I was like a 7th round pick. So it was like just through like summer hard work and kind of just grinding through it that I just kind of built it year after year and kind of became the player that I am today.
Playing 5 years in the Q, like that's a grind, right? And were there any times during that where you were like, you know what, I'm going to give this up, I'm going to go try to find a new job? But were you always set on, I'm going to make it pro, follow in the footsteps of my dad and make this thing happen?
Yeah, I was always set on making pro. I think I always believed I could. Maybe the NHL, I didn't know. I knew it was going to be a grind actually, but I knew I had like kind of a style of play that fit well professionally and I could at least give it a shot. So yeah, that was always the goal. I mean, I kind of ditched school a little bit during the Q, but that's just because I play hockey. So
CHL education. Well, for some guys took it seriously. The 3 that did ended up winning Scholastic Player of the Year. But I'm looking at your hockey DB, right? And so you entered the Q, like your offensive numbers weren't there, but nor were your PIMs in the beginning. So was fighting something that you eventually incorporated to your game later in the Q, or maybe you were doing a little bit? Like how much were you fighting in your early days there?
When I made the team, I was kind of in and out. I think I was playing every other game or something like that. And I was trying to find a way to get above the pack of the other guys I was rotating in with. And one day I just kind of looked at the other team's lineup and I said, I should probably, try to get a fight going, maybe something that will help me, or at least, show the coach that I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I got absolutely pumped, but I never got scratched again. So it kind of started from there.
That's unreal.
Where I just figured, maybe that's something that if I do it more than the others, maybe that gives me a little bit of an edge. And then next thing you know, it kind of gave me a little more confidence. So I started getting a little bit of, some points here and there. And then I just kind of elevated my way up to the third line that year as a 16-year-old. So
had you been doing it before you even got to the Q at all? Like you said, you ended up getting beat up. Like, was it it was just a conversation you had with yourself? Was there any NHL player maybe you saw kind of doing it where you're like, maybe that's the way to get there? Was it a conversation with your father or no, it was just you kind of having an epiphany?
No, my dad never told me to do it. I remember I called him one day early in the season. I was like, what do you think? Like, do you think it's a good idea? I've been thinking I should probably try something else. And he's like, well, try it. You'll see. I mean, you've been around it long enough. You know what impact it has on a team and on guys, but just be ready to assume the consequences. Like I had taken boxing lessons, but nothing like on ice or anything like that. Wasn't in my style of play at all. So yeah, I just kind of built it over the years where it kind of really became part of my playing style. And yeah, I mean, I just figured at some point it was so every time I do it, I'd get more space out there, be more confident. Like it's weird how it just became this positive thing in my game where I was just like, I think I need to keep doing this.
And being a young guy and doing it all of a sudden, I don't know what your relationship was like with your teammates, but did you feel that initial response from them too, and the respect they have for you, and like the satisfaction you got from that if you weren't contributing offensively?
Yeah, I think I did. Plus I was playing with I was on the fourth line with 2 absolute nail guns, like just guys that were there to chuck them. And I was in the middle of them. And I remember before doing it, I was like, what am I doing here? Like I should be doing this. Like I'm playing with these guys, right? I'm like leaving them with the job by themselves. And then, yeah, they kind of just liked it. Obviously they were encouraging me and stuff. And then I was playing well. And then I kind of elevated to third line, and I just figured I'll keep doing it because it's worked so far.
I got a 2-part question. First is simple. Do you remember the name of the guy who pumped you first fight in the Q? And 2, Biz has talked before how Dennis Bonvie was really important to him, kind of teaching him how to fight. Did you have one of those line mates of yours, after practice, do little stuff with you?
Yeah, the guy that pumped me was Trevor Stacey, this guy from Kanawaki, Quebec, who I think was a first rounder in the NLL, the lacrosse league.
Wow.
Not to chirp the guy, but I think he had 0 points in 3 years. He was just an absolute
yeah, take it easy on those types of guys.
He just got his name mentioned. He's all fired up. And then
I remember looking at the game notes. That was a bad mistake. And I remember seeing another 16-year-old who had a lot of PIMs. And I'm like, oh, this guy will fight. I had no idea, right? It was so early. Little did I know. I was on my knees after 10 seconds. But yeah, so guys that helped me, well, I was around my dad. He was around the other pros in Quebec City. They had a good group. So, I mean, I remember Donald Brashear was there. And, I forget all the tough guys that I was around the locker room when he played in that league. But all those guys, you know, watching them over the years and stuff, I picked up a few things here and there that I kind of was asking them questions. I don't think I've ever been on the ice actually physically one-on-one working on it, but just, you know, picking things here and there from those guys and hearing them talk about it.
That league, that senior league, like the crowds were unreal, right? Like people loved it. Like I imagine the atmosphere in there was pretty electric.
Yeah, it was, and it was good hockey because it was all old pros that came back from their careers that just wanted to keep going, and it was good money. You didn't have to practice during the week. It was like you just show up, play a couple games, get some extra money in your pocket, and basically, from what my dad's told me, he would just work during the week, and his paycheck, he wouldn't even touch it because he would just use the money from playing the games in the weekend. So it was like a great gig, good hockey, especially the lockout year was, I remember it, like he said, like it was AHL caliber hockey. It's obviously changed, but I think like probably the bottom 4 lines and maybe 1 D-man that were like there to put on a show and fight, they were the most paid guys. Obviously, that's why the rinks were full, but it was really good hockey for sure.
And then you go to, you know, you don't get drafted, you sign with Milwaukee and I think it's so impressive that you never played any coast games, you know, as a bottom 6 guy coming in. Like, was there one certain guy, like whether it was a scout or someone in Milwaukee or Nashville's organization that you knew believed in you and that kind of helped you get your footprint in there?
Yeah, there was a couple of things. Well, first of all, the scout that drafted me in Moncton is the one that had started inviting me to rookie camps in Nashville. JP Glod is his name. So he kind of, obviously I owe a lot to him for, you know, giving me chances here and there. And I think my first rookie camp, you know, I think I had a good camp, got into a fight and got noticed by the staff there. And for what I've been told later is, you know, they kind of needed a big, tough guy to come in and round out the team down there in Milwaukee. And obviously they thought of me. It was my only offer on the table, so I took it in a heartbeat. But yeah, I just remember thinking I'm probably going to start in the coast because I have a one-way AHL deal, and you know, you have all the 2 ways, and but I remember thinking it's out of my control. At this point, just show up to camp, do what you do, and we'll see how it goes. And yeah, I never really looked back.
I was just going to quickly go back to that last year junior and fast forward to now. You 16 goals this year. Like that, the offense you've put up is 5 times more than you've ever scored. You had 16 goals right now, but that last year junior in Sherbrooke, you had 27. Was kind of getting that opportunity offensively in junior what maybe gave you belief that you could eventually get it done at the National Hockey League level, knowing obviously it's such a big jump and you're going to be back on the 4th line. But the fact that you were able to do that your last year junior, there was some offensive ability in you.
I think so. I was never an offensive powerhouse, obviously, but you know, I had a good shot. And weirdly enough, this is, you know, I don't know if many players have talked about this, but my 19-year-old year in juniors, I was missing a lot of chances where it should have been auto goals, like coming in back door, tap in, stuff like that. And I would be getting passes from like a certain angle and just miss it. And somehow, some way, I met someone that was working in neuro training and kind of working with concussion, maybe like guys that have issues with that. And sure enough, I get tested and I was completely out of whack. My depth perception was nuts. My eyes were glitching all over the place, and did some work, did some exercises to fix everything. And then I come back the next year and it's all going in. And so I kind of I wasn't completely fixed. Obviously, I still had some stuff to figure out, but I probably had a concussion that messed up some stuff visually, and then just kind of, I've been treating it for years, and it's been slowly getting to a point where now I feel like I don't even have those issues anymore.
No shit.
Wow. Yeah, and it's all
you didn't even know
year.
You didn't notice it. Like it was more like until somebody pointed it out, a doctor. You were like, "Oh fuck! Like this makes sense."
I thought it was like normal. So like I'd be watching TV, and then my eyes would just kind of like glitch one way or the other. Or like I wouldn't be able to stare at a certain point. And then like once I got tested, they were like, "Yeah, you're not only you need some work, you're completely out of whack." And so once I did the stuff, I come back the next year in juniors, and next thing you know, I'm not missing the net. I'm not missing those open nets. They're all going where I want them to go. And I'm like, okay, this should have been done years ago, but I mean, it's crazy. But that was a big part of the turnaround offensively for me. And funny enough, I just kind of kept doing it in pro hockey. And this year, it's kind of like the same vibe as I kind of had a breakthrough last summer. And
so the original reset, like, would you go to a physio and you'd be there for an hour doing all these different exercises with a doctor? Would you have to leave home for like a week process? Do they like study your brain? Like, how does that all work?
So I would go to this it's called Neuroactive. And basically it's an hour and a half away from my house. I drive there once a week, do about an hour and a half to 2 hours work. And it was all based off my results. And it was all like kind of like a line pattern would go through a screen, and I'd get like a electrical shock through a nerve that's affecting this one. It's like super advanced stuff that I got 100% lucky to fall upon and get that therapy kind of. And then it was like instant relief.
And you felt that it was as a result of all the concussions because of the fighting you'd been doing? Like, it wasn't like that before necessarily?
No, it wasn't from fighting. I think I got hit when I was 14 or 15, a bad one. I kind of fell backwards and I hit the back of my head on the boards. And when I came back home, my parents thought I was high. They thought they were like, where's the drugs? Like, were you
hanging out with Biz?
And I'm like, no, I just got hit in the corner. But that was like, I'm pretty sure that's what it's from, because I think that's when it kind of all started on the ice, where I wasn't really finishing well, but obviously from hits, and I don't think from fighting much, but like just playing the game, I think it probably got worse over the years.
Wow. So you correct this, you go back, you have the 27 goal season, and from there on out, you're now able to just do all those exercises on your own because you know what to do in order to kind of reset things? Or do you still go back there in the summertime, or do you have a new guy that you go to?
No, I go back there in the summer. Yeah, I work with him. His name's Philip. He's developing this program. I think they're trying to get it to a point where it's accessible for everyone, which would be great. But that was like a big turnaround for me as far as like figuring out, it was a weird thing. My dad would watch me play. He'd be like, I don't know why you're missing these. Like, these should be automatics, but you're missing all of them. Not like once in a while, oh, you miss a big deal, right? So then it kind of all just made sense.
Do you remember who you met or who kind of introduced it to you?
Yeah. So this guy, Phil, he was a friend of my dad's, and he kind of he's in sports science, and he's a chiropractor as well, does a bunch of different things. And obviously he's helped me. I think he's working with Montreal as well in Montreal. So he's trying to I think they're establishing a baseline. I'm kind of like one of the first few guys, and then I think they'll eventually try to make it a bigger thing than it is now.
That's an unreal story.
Yeah, it's hockey specifically. There's just so much movement, right? And like you said, tracking the puck and finding it through sticks and lanes, and like it's just. I mean, I know for when I was out there, it felt like absolute chaos as a forward. But yeah, that's great that you ended up figuring that all out. Now, I want to go back to the fighting side of it. You did mention you took a little bit of boxing as far as training earlier, when you were playing junior. Watching you fight now, man, you're a nail gun. You talked about your line mates in junior. You are the heavyweight champ in the National Hockey League based on not only performance, but how active you are. You look like you have it all figured out. What are you doing in the offseason in order to prepare to fight all these heavyweights in the NHL?
Well, like you said, I did boxing for a bit, but my boxing coach, he used to be Golden Glove in Canada, but he's past, like, he can't do it anymore. His body's just his shoulders and all of it. He can't really hold the pads anymore. So I haven't worked with him in a couple of years, but I think, the base has always been there. I think it's just experience. At some point, I kind of just figured out what worked for me, what didn't work for me as well. And I don't know, this year and even last year, I kind of just figured out what is the best way for me to go about every fight. And I just kind of try to focus on myself and not the other guys. Like, I used to watch the fights on YouTube and all that and be like, okay, what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing? Now I just kind of do my own thing. and it's been a big turnaround from there as well.
Do you have a memory of your first time getting called up, your first NHL game? And I mean, it must have been exciting because you had 10 goals that second year in the AHL, and you finally get a chance. I mean, that's quick. 1 year in the minors, and then you're kind of having an opportunity. Like, do you remember the phone call or your first game or anything?
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember the exact road trip, but we were in Chicago O'Hare taking a flight to Iowa. I think we were going to Des Moines.
Middle seat.
Yeah, that C13. Next thing you know, I get a call from David Poyle, and he's like, you're gonna fly to Iowa, but you're flying out tomorrow morning to Nashville. And then I had practice that day and then played the next night against Winnipeg. So obviously calling everyone. I'm calling my dad, my mom, my sister, getting everyone down there. I think I had like 15 people, which was great. My grandparents made it. So it was, it was really, that's amazing. Yeah. Really cool to have everyone there. And, I didn't think it was going to happen that fast. I was like shocked. I was shocked because a couple weeks prior, our AGM was telling me like, you're doing pretty good. If you keep going, you might get a shot. And I remember thinking, there's no chance that happens. I'm years away from that. Like in my mind, I was like, it's going to be a grind. And yeah, it happened a couple weeks after that. So that was,
were you still on an AHL deal?
No. So I signed that A deal. And then I think in February, they offered me the entry level contract to finish the year and then the next 2 years. So it would have been like, basically just half a year where I would have been on an AHL deal, and then I kind of fell on my entry level.
Did they give you a signing bonus?
They did, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Fucking rights, man.
They did. It was some weird thing where the contract wasn't approved because it was too late in the year. So they gave me another AHL contract to modify my first one, and then the entry level deal kicked in at the end of that season, but the bonus was part of the AHL contract as well. So that was kind of nice.
That was a good summer right there.
Well, yeah, it helped round out the year because let me tell you, when you're at almost league minimum AHL, it goes away quick.
And I would imagine Milwaukee is a pretty good place to play in the AHL. Now, I don't know if you had a girl at the time, but it seems like a great party city, like very down to earth people and very good support of their AHL team.
Great bar city for sure. Yeah. No, that first year I was single, and it was super, like, bar scene's great. People are great. And there's like 3 streets where it's just like bars all the way down. And you're not going to find like clubs or anything like that. It's all just like basically Packer bars, and you walk in, watch some football, and just have some beers, play some bar die. It's good.
You're like,
what's bar die?
It's this game that's like, I think it's just in Wisconsin, where you walk in and it's basically just dice, and you play against the bartender and whoever else wants to play. And if the bartender loses, you get a free round. So yeah,
okay,
not bad, yeah.
That's a drinking city right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, pure Wisco drinking city for sure.
Yeah. If you breathe, you get a free round.
I could see you
free
you
round
saying
of
like,
cheese curds too.
Yeah, always breathing. All right, getting one.
Hey, if you get called up to Nashville, is that a good bar city too? Guys are like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Wait till you see it.
Well, that's why they put it there, to prepare you to go to Broadway. That's like
exactly.
legit.
It's just a precursor, and then you get the Broadway. You're like, there's nothing like this.
I kind of want to go back to the fighting a little bit, because like so many people are obsessed with like the fact that you've kind of taken over the heavyweight crown and like fighters preparation. Do you get nervous before games? Are you pretty much looking at the lineup sheet across the way and saying, yeah, tonight's probably a night that I'm going to go and basically go tap them on the shin pads and ass? Like, what's your pre-game process leading into the game?
Yeah, so I think I don't get as nervous as much anymore, but I do. Obviously, you look and you're like, okay, tonight there's obviously a couple of guys on the other side, or this guy's there. Like, you're aware of it. I think my approach now is not necessarily to ask guys, is kind of just to make it happen. So have an impact on the game and kind of throw a couple big hits, kind of create some momentum where they feel like they need to do it. Obviously, it's tough to do that night in, night out. Some nights you're going to ask some guys to go, but That's kind of been my mindset last 2 seasons, I'd say. Instead of going around and asking them, just trying to, make a difference and have people react to it.
I would imagine they're tapping you on the shin pads more, given like you're playing like 15, 17 minutes now. That's wild for a guy who's chucking them as much as you. So I would be very envious from a guy across the way being like, look at that role player getting 15 minutes. Tip, come on, throw me out there.
Well, I don't want to get away from it though, because it's like my identity. It's what got me here. I don't want to be like all of a sudden like, oh, I'm playing more, I'm scoring a little bit. Like, I don't have time for this. I feel like it's been such a positive thing for my career, my whole journey so far, that if I get away from that, it's kind of getting away from what got me here. So I think it's always going to be there for sure.
That's awesome.
I feel like a lot of the fighters, when they get a little success, do want to play more, telling the coach they could be on the power play and stuff. So that's a great way to, But it must be nice. I mean,
that's why I was
it must be
begging
nice
for an
being the
AHL
guy.
deal.
Yeah, it's nice to, like, obviously I'm getting the tap and shoulder often and stuff, but with Dino, what's great about him is he's never telling me, don't fight either. He's not telling me to do it, but he's not telling me not to do it. It's all on my own terms, basically. And so that kind of freedom for a guy that plays the way that I play, it's so massive. You're not overthinking. You're not double, you're not kind of stutter stepping your way on the ice. So, that's huge for sure.
Now, you were traded over to, 3 summers ago to Columbus? Like, how did that go about? Like, did you have a feeling you might be dealt? And like, it must have been kind of hard, right? You make it in Nashville. It's one of the best places to play in the league. Great crowd. And all of a sudden, like, you're traded. Like, what was the story on that?
Yeah. So that's another kind of story where a little bit of an injury bug so that year in camp, so I made the team the COVID year, had a few minor injuries that year where I missed some games, but overall I was with the team the whole year and poised to make the team again. And hurt my back in camp and took a while to figure out what it was, but basically herniated a disc in my lower like L5S1.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. and the disc was protruding on my sciatic. So my left leg was just completely like dead. Couldn't use it. Couldn't walk for 2 minutes. I had to like lay down a lot. And so I was fighting it all year and trying to put off surgery and trying to play through it. And it was just not a good decision. I should have just gotten it fixed right away. But long story short, I got it fixed in February. And at that point, I was already, I was back in Milwaukee, and I come back in March, which was great because they had to do it endoscopically instead of just opening you up, which, fast tracked everything. And next thing you know, my leg's feeling normal again. I'm feeling great. And so I end up getting called back for playoffs in Nashville. We get swept by Colorado, go back down Milwaukee, lose in the second round, I think. And I kind of knew at that point, like, I'm going to need a crazy camp to get back in kind of the mix right now, because they already had Jeannot, who was a good buddy of mine, but he kind of had taken over that role there, and obviously had a great year. So it was kind of written in the stars that I was going to, probably get moved. And David Poile was obviously super nice to call me a couple of days in advance, be like, hey, I'm getting some offers, so just so you know, you're probably going to get moved. So I was like, okay, that's fair enough. Like, I knew what, kind of year just happened. So I just didn't know where. And Columbus was awesome. Brad Larson called me right away and was like, here's what I need from you. And it's been awesome.
That's the tough part that you always have. Like, even the best players, there's somebody trying to take your job, but there's guys with just so much security, and someone in your role at that point, like, you come up, you're doing well, one injury, and all of a sudden, like, there's the anxiety of like, dude, I kind of lost my spot, right? Like, that has to wear on you a little bit and make it tougher to be like, no, you just can't get comfortable, I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but at the same time, that year, it taught me so much, because I was fighting injuries. I was like just in one in general, and I was away from my family for most of it. I
I had a newborn and a 1-year-old, and they were in Nashville and I was in Milwaukee, and I was like up and down, and the whole thing was just a mess that year. And so it taught me a lot about, not only playing through things, but knowing when to be okay. This is clearly not okay. Like I need to get fixed up here. And also
like
just
hurt or injured,
when I was going to make it back to, not mess this up. So
was there a point in when you got over to Columbus, and obviously everyone now knows you're a fan favorite there. Everyone loves when you're on the ice. Was there a point like in your first year or two where you were like, oh wow, they really like me here, and this is a fun place for me to play?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I got obviously our room. We have some really good leaders, and I got along with everyone really well right off the hop. And it was pretty obvious right off the bat that they were going to value what I was going to bring, and I think they needed that. Part of the trade was that the year before they were getting bullied a little bit, and then I kind of got brought in, and they signed Goodbranson to a deal, so they want to kind of take care of that aspect. And they right from the start just felt, obviously everyone from the fans to the organization, like, okay, we've seen this guy play, we like him, and we love what he brings. And I just kind of wanted to keep building on what I had with the team, and wanted to show that I could bring some offense eventually and all that good stuff. So, but right from the start, felt very comfortable, very welcoming here.
And then this camp, Dean Evison comes in. Like there had to be, like every player I think has a coach where it's like, oh, that guy really believed in me. And I'm guessing right from the start, like he loved you as a player. Like, did you guys have a chat in camp, preseason at any point where he told you what he expected and kind of what he could give you and how much he appreciated your game?
Yeah, a little bit right after camp, but I think, he didn't coach me, but I had him for a few rookie camps in Nashville because he was in Milwaukee. And the year I came in, he got the job in Minnesota. So we kind of just missed each other there, but he knew of me, he was part of the recruiting process and all that. So when I got here, he knew, what kind of player I was and what I could bring. And I had a really good camp. I was, scoring goals, and I think I played all the road games too. I got the old, tough that schedule. Yeah. But after camp, he just, came up to me and was like, it was the simplest conversation ever. He was just like, whatever you did in camp, just keep doing that.
The best feeling in the world, man.
Have a good year. So I was like, perfect. So I haven't had many meetings this year, which is probably a good reason, a good thing.
Can you kind of describe and go through the year? Obviously, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I mean, all the way to the fact that you guys are in the playoff race right now, the tragedy that happened to start the year, the outdoor game. So there's just been so much along with what you've been able to achieve. So just from a Columbus fan standpoint, who is listening to this, can you just kind of go through how incredible the journey's been?
Yeah. Obviously, the summer was just a nightmare. John was close to everyone on the team. He was obviously a big leader for us. And not only like just with the guys, but, everyone on the team, all our wives and girlfriends were close with Meredith and the kids as well. So it's good that, she's around the team this year. We've seen her a bunch and seen his family, which is great. But I think our approach to it right from the get-go is just, go through it together, everyone, and be open about it, talk about it, talk about the good stuff, the bad stuff. And really just, remember John for what he wanted to do. And then that kind of just kick-started our year into, kind of surprising a lot of people, and then bringing John into the outdoor game, which was, phenomenal. I don't think I've ever been a part of such a cool event and seen anything like it. But John's always around us. And that was like the big number one thing this year. And we always joke around about all his stuff he'd do, and, just walk in 10:59 for an 11 o'clock meeting. Like everyone's sweating and losing their balls because he's not in the meeting. And the next thing you know, he just walks in like, what's up, guys? Just sits down, like just not a care in the world, just wanted to be with his family all the time. So he taught us a lot, and we try to think about him whenever we're going through some tough times or stressing out. Obviously, he taught us to just enjoy life. So that was kind of the kickstart of the whole year, and obviously what we've been doing. So,
and one of the toughest, parts is that how close him and Sean Monahan were, and he comes over, and I mean, it absolutely sucks. He's out injured right now because what a season this guy was having. Like, it was just incredible to watch and witness. How much has he meant to that team? I mean, he's been around the league a long time. He's been a good player every year he's been playing. So has he helped you guys a ton, like in the room and stuff?
Yeah. Obviously, a big reason why he came over to us was to be with John. They were best friends. So it's tough meeting a guy like that. You meet him at one of the hardest times of his life. But, we just try to make him feel as welcome and obviously support him as much as we could. And, Monty, to his credit, from day one in camp on the ice, you couldn't tell what was going on. He was dialed, ready to go. He's obviously been around for a long time and helped us, our team so much. And he's done a lot for our young guys. Like they look up to him big time, and they've seen how he plays and how he's so good defensively. And then turns like puck goes the other way, chips in with points every night. It's just like crazy to watch this guy just accomplish everything on the ice and going through what he was going through off the ice as well. I mean, just speaks to kind of player he is and the kind of person he is. So yeah, our young guys have been, kind of taking a page out of his book all year, and he's been big for our growth this year for sure.
Yeah, I just think everything that you guys have done for the Goudreau family this year just goes to show you how classy of an organization it is there in Columbus. But I wanted to ask you about probably my favorite player, if not my favorite defenseman, one of my favorite players, in Zach Werenski. Like, how good is it? Like, I believe he should be in the MVP race. No offense to, your whole team, but no, these other guys have, superstars after superstars playing with them. And to watch him play every night, he's so smooth. He's so confident. He makes everybody else better. And I don't know, just what does he bring to that team?
He's looked like a different player since attending the first Chiclets Cup, is what he's trying to say.
Yes.
You got a Chiclets bump? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
He's everything to our team. I mean, it's as simple as that. And, we got Fabro off waivers, and I knew Fab's from Nashville, but he had some experience with Yossi. He was his partner for a couple of years, and he came in and he was just like, I know exactly how to play with this guy. And then Z just obviously just
stay the fuck out of the way.
Go ahead, bud. I got the rest. So, but he's been obviously his offensive numbers are crazy, and he's just insane to watch, how good he is night in, night out, and what he does on the ice. But his defensive number, he's been dialed in everywhere on the ice, and he's been a big reason why we've had more success than people thought this year. And obviously, I think he should win the Norris for sure, and should be in the MVP. I don't think it's a question. Just what he's done for this team, and it's incredible. And he's so dialed. He came into camp this year. There was something different. I don't know what he did this summer, but he was always nasty, but he came in this year and I was like, whoa, this is another level. He came in, this is a funny story. We, couple of us, late night snackers, not too far from the cookie box. You know what I mean? I like a good glass of milk with some cookies at night, and he comes in and he's like, guys, have you tried these Yasos? We're like, what are those? He's like, yeah,
I've had those.
Yeah, Greek yogurt bars. He's like,
they're unbelievable.
Telling you, they'll scratch, they'll scratch the itch, but you won't be eating crap all the time. And,
wait.
Yeah. Next thing you know, Corrali's on the train. I'm on the Yasso train. Next thing you know, we got half the team just following Z for just small stuff that.
Yeah, no free ads.
Yeah, no free ads though.
No. This we could do free ads. I got the
Z doesn't need the
cookie dough
endorsement.
one.
I'll take it anytime though. He
not anymore.
It's a small story, but I mean that's the type of guy he is. He just brought us into the little details that make a difference at the end of the day. So
another guy that's just taken off this year, and it's kind of an interesting story, is Kent Johnson. So he was the 5th overall pick. Played right out of college that season, just 9 games. Then the next year had a great rookie year. And then last year it was something was missing. They send him down. But like, talk about a guy who answered the bell. I don't think he sulked or complained. And then this season, he's right around a point per game. So like, what's his ceiling like? Like, what is he as a player? And do you remember last year? Like, it's big news if a 5th overall pick after a good rookie season gets sent to the AHL. Do you remember that?
He's such a talented player. His vision, his playmaking skills are off the charts. But like sometimes it's just hard to find your rhythm in this league offensively. Like, guys are so good defensively, and I think he kind of understood he wanted to get stronger. He came in this year, he definitely did that this summer, gained a few pounds. He looked stronger, quicker. When we were playing those 3-on-3 before camp, I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to destroy the league this year.
Yeah.
And he had a hot start and he's been having a good year, but his whole life is hockey. Like, he just eats, sleeps hockey. He's one of those guys, like, after the game's over, like, I like to just sit in my seat and be like, oh, I'm done. Like, think about it tomorrow. He's watching the shifts, like slow motion, watching everything, where you missed the lane, stuff like that. So he's really dedicated to his craft, and great guy as well. Like, just a really cool kid. So I watch him every day and I have no idea what he's doing, because I'm like, this is another level of hockey IQ that I cannot comprehend, but he's great. So I'm just like, do whatever you do, man. That'll do.
I'm surprised you didn't ask about Kirill Marchenko. You've been fucking talking about this guy nonstop.
I was talking about him last year, and now I'm like, holy shit, I kind of look like I know what I'm talking about. This guy. Well, and Voronkov, and then like, what's the story? I saw some story like Fantilli was playing with them, so they're calling him Fantilliov, or like they got the little Russian mafia going, huh?
Well, yeah, we have like 5 or 6 Russians, so obviously that's kind of going on right now. But no,
how many of them have like random buddies in tracksuits hanging around the locker room?
Oh, Marchie's one of those guys. He'll walk into those white tracks for sure.
Do they have any like random Russian buddies who are always in the locker room?
No, they're enough as it is. Like, we don't need that. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, no, but he, so I guess Monty was playing with him and Voronkov, and so Monty became Monahanov, and then when Monty went down, like Fantilli came in, and they were like, yeah, I don't know, like, you're gonna have to earn that name. And he's been doing pretty good. So I guess he's still Adam Fantilov, and I guess they got Andre Fantilov if we make it to the playoffs. I guess he gets Monty just went right to the top.
That's like a bonus in the KHL.
He's gonna get the fucking Putin gold card if
we're gonna have
you
a
gues
full
make
team
it to the
trip
conference
Russia.
finals.
I think we might be the only team that might be able to get there. But seriously, like he's like, every day he's just like so happy to be there. His English is good, like for a Russian guy, like coming over, like talks to everyone, very vocal, obviously leads the way out there. So he's a beast, man. Like, just puck battles and stuff. It's like really like small detail stuff that he's unbelievable. Obviously he can score like any way he wants to. So
I think it's the way to go if you're gonna have like a few of like, Russians, Finns, or Swedes. You might as well just bring in a bunch. Like, it sucks if you're just like one, if not even 2 Russians. Like, I feel bad for the who's the rookie there in Philly, Michkov. Like, they eventually brought in Kuzmenko, but then shipped him off. But oh man, like we had the Czech mafia when we were in Arizona. We had like 5 Czech guys. So it really feels like it works, and they feel like they have their own little community, I'm sure, in the locker room.
Yeah, they got their own dinner crew. No one's getting in that for sure.
And they're carving everyone on the team too.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Oh yeah, everyone's getting it. But you know what? Like you said, Biz, if it weren't for all of them, I'm pretty sure Voronkov would have had a harder time coming over. Like, his English is better this year, but last year was like 0. Like, there's no way this guy's talking. So it definitely helped him. So
how did they get him in the 4th round, by the way? Like, he's fucking huge. He looks like he's like 230. I mean, he had 18 goals last year. He's got 20 already this year, and it was a late pick.
He's unreal in front of that. He's like smart too, like really smart player. And he's hilarious. Like, one of those, like, just he doesn't even talk English, and everyone's just flying through him. He calls himself Big Boss. That's his nickname. And then I guess his contract's up for the year, and he's an RFA, and he's like, Big Boss, big money. Like he's always like, he's always like going around like he's.
The more I
all,
listen to you, the more I want to be on this team. Like,
Same.
he just looks like a Russian.
That's how he is
Look at
every
that.
day.
Big boss, baby.
Yeah, big
What a
boss, big
mutant.
money.
You know
Give
he doesn't
him
even
big
need
money.
an agent. He's going in himself.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't want to negotiate with that. Just stares daggers at you all day.
Is Provorov, because he's more American than most Americans that I know.
Yeah.
Is Provy running with the Russian guys, or is he
Yeah,
running
he's
with the
taking
American?
care of all of them. Yeah,
Okay,
taking
good,
care
nice.
of all of them. Obviously, he's helping out and stuff because Voronkov, his real nickname's Ronnie, but he calls himself Big Boss. So it's, I mean, Big Boss doesn't get the meetings at all. So you always hear some like Marchenko or Provier in the back, like translating something in Russian. So, yeah, Provy's just kind of like, yeah, like you said, he's like, you wouldn't even tell he's Russian the way he speaks. So,
Man,
just
this
kinda
sounds like a
happy.
fun room.
Oh,
This sounds
no
like
shit.
this is making me miss hockey big time.
Who's
right
running
now.
court?
Same.
Who's running court? Who's the conductor in the room?
Honestly, probably me.
Nice.
I'd probably
That's why
be
you got
running-
3 times 6. Holy fuck.
I'd probably be running it. Me and Booner and Goody, probably something like that. Like more like some guys that a little louder. Yeah. Z would probably just be sitting in the corner laughing. But
we hung out with Fantilli at the draft in Nashville, and him and his family, just first class, unreal people.
Yeah,
So he must fit in just like a glove.
yeah, he's great. I get along with him. Like he's a great, not only player, but like just a great kid, hilarious.
Like
I
a
always ask
goofy young
stories.
kid, kind of like, you know what I mean? That's
I
what
have
I thought
story
when I
time
met
with him every day.
Like he tells you one from his antics.
Yeah, he's not too bad now. He's got a girl now, so he's settled down. But
Yeah, he hard
Great gal
launched his
too, but-
girl
No way.
at the
Instagram.
outdoor classic. I saw Twitter like, oh, Fantilli hard launch because all of a sudden he's skating
She
around the
got to
ice.
skate?
holding
Gave
it.
so much shit for that. I
Oh,
was like,
no.
dude, you just got hard launched. That was hilarious. we gave actually the reporter that posted it. It was like his, like, no offense, Mets, but it was like his most interactive post that he had. We're like, yeah, you had to hard launch a guy, Mets, to get the fucking clicks.
Oh,
No, she's a nice gal too. She's awesome, but he's like, it's great. I always sit down with him in the morning. I'm like, all right, what you got for me?
no. That's the only reason I lasted as long as I did, because I actually had stories to bring to the locker room. Yans, Ray Whitney. I'd have to tell all these married guys what the hell was going on. Like my cock rings at the fucking my 40th birthday party. Whit's been chirping me.
We've been talking a lot about him the last couple of weeks. James Van Riemsdyk. Is this guy not a treat or what? I fucking love him.
Unreal. The treatmer
How much treatment does he get?
all the time.
It's
great.
insane.
It's great. We're on the road, and we're going to dinner, and next thing you know, Reamer's 30 minutes late because he's getting treatment somewhere. But he's been around forever. He's got to have the right recipe, and he's been huge for a room, like massive. Like just came in, him and Jack Johnson, both of them, just veteran presence that we needed, and guys that, small stuff that make a big difference. They've been massive. And JVR's having a good year, putting up points and stuff.
Net
like
front merchant.
Yeah, he's good. He's massive for this team for sure, and a treat off the ice as well.
Did we really talk and dive into like when you found out you're going to get this big contract? Like,
Oh, I wanted
would
to
say-
ask him.
like, I mean, man, like from the start of the year to now, and then getting that, like you must have been just like, your jaw must have dropped when you heard the number. Not to say you didn't deserve it and you haven't earned it, but that's such a big number and long commitment for maybe a guy who's had your role in the past.
Yeah. Well, obviously I knew it was going to be free agent. So my agent and I talking, we were kind of spitballing numbers at the start of the year, and we weren't really near that point. And then as the year went on, we kind of look like how it works. You look at comparables and all that good stuff. And we were just like, I think like we could probably ask for this and this and this. And, but I think it's a combination of everything. Like everything fits so well in Columbus, like my role with the team, how I get along with everyone, just how we love the city. So undercover, like it's got a little bit of everything for everyone, right? Like young guys have Ohio State, and then you got like great suburbs suburbs for the families. Fan base is unreal. Like everything kind of worked out where we didn't really want to leave. I mean, obviously it's a business. We knew it was a risk, but and the negotiations just kind of went well. Both sides just kind of said their number and figured out something that worked. And there never was a point where I was like, oh, I don't know if it's going to happen. It always felt like we were going to make it happen here. And Don Waddell was great, and obviously my agent did a good job. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just thrilled that I'm here like for 6 years protecting these young guys that are just absolute studs, right? Like Fantilli, Johnson, Z still going for who knows how long. Seems like he's never going to die down. So, like, just I'm here to protect those guys and obviously create space and just, be that presence for them. So, I mean, that's all you can ask for, really.
Guys, we need to talk right now about Rhoback. Let us introduce you to Rhoback Activewear. If you've ever seen those incredible floral polos for spring golf, yeah, those are Rhoback. If you watch the Sandbagger against Bob Does, the Spittin Chiclets won. The win we had, the second version, I was rocking a beautiful floral polo from Rhoback. It's amazing how it feels, so easy to swing, soft on the skin. I cannot get enough of it. We're so lucky that Rhoback is on as a sponsor. The combo of fun colors, incredible designs, and the best fit out there make this our favorite collection. With new releases for polos, quarter zips, and hoodies, this collection is simply loaded. So use the code Chiclets on Rhoback.com for a generous 20% off your first purchase through the end of the week. That's CHICLETS on RHOBACK.com. 20% off hoodies, joggers, and more with code Chiclets. Yeah, I'm so happy for you, man, especially after talking and getting to know you a little bit here. And because I was wondering the way your season's gone and the type of play you are, and it's quite obvious that like you're kind of a unicorn now. Like you talk Tom Wilson yourself, like the game has changed so much that if you can do what you do, there's just not a lot of guys like that. So there was a lot of rumblings that you could have fetched a haul at the deadline, right? Like, but it's good to hear there was never even a question about like the negotiations not going well, so you didn't have to deal with the stress of like, oh, are they going to trade me so they don't lose me for nothing?
Yeah, I think it was early on. Sorry, I'm moving around here. I don't know if you can edit it.
No, we'll do a little cribs episode too. We'll get you two for one.
Yeah, exactly. No, our crib's not great, but my wife is
not yet.
My wife's showing up with the kids any minute now, and they're going to walk in and start screaming. So I just went to her room.
The workbench.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't.
It's a head print.
A lot of fingerprints above that headboard.
There's cash everywhere.
I'm not sure I like this background right now. I might have to.
Did it come with the stripper pole?
No. Yeah, it looks like that, doesn't it? I've actually said that before. I got to figure out a place to do this one. Here, I got it right here. Perfect.
Okay, nice.
The floor. There you go. Now I don't look like a degenerate.
Working off those cookies.
Yeah, exactly. I'm off them now. I'm on the Yasso train. I told you.
All right. I'm going to check these out.
I'm ordering those somewhere right now.
They're nasty. Anyways, so no, I didn't think I was going to get traded, to answer your question, because I think it made sense for everyone, and they were like very, very early on, maybe 20 games in the year. They were like very upfront, like, no, we want to keep you, like we want to make this work. And I was upfront with them, like, I believe in what we're doing, obviously, love it here. Just want to make sure that it works out. And obviously it was about getting something that works for both sides, but like there was no, like, I don't think there was a time where we're like, we might be on the move. Like it was going well. So
I just had one more before we pump your tires on the way out, because this has been awesome and it's been great getting to know you, and you deserve everything that's came your way. Like who have been the toughest challenges as far as fighting at the National Hockey League level? Like who are you like, oh God, I'm not going to have as good of a pregame nap knowing that this might happen tonight, and anything that you want to say on that?
When I fought Luch, it was my third fight in 3 games, and I got pumped. And I was like, after that, I was like, oh God, what just happened? That was a tough one. Obviously, Delorier every time's a hard one. You got Curtis McDermott, who was in Devils now. Revo was obviously a big one. Gadjevich doesn't get enough credit, I feel like. I'm forgetting a bunch here. I think Ross Johnston in Anaheim's nails. Jeannot still like absolute nail gun. That was fun playing with him that one year. So
Have you guys fought each other being buddies with Milwaukee?
Not yet. But I will say, when we were in Milwaukee, we were on the same line, and that was a treat.
Oh my
That's
God.
an absolute treat. Whatever
Yeah,
corner
imagine
was
them
going to,
forechecking.
we were getting it back.
I think I did have to play against them when they were in Nashville together.
Yeah, that makes sense. We had like an absolute like that team in Nashville was just pure fighters. Basically, we had Borowicki was there.
Yeah, the Boro call.
Oh my God, he was so tough.
Yeah, so nails. Great guy too.
I saw him at the airport the other day.
He looks like he's Russian.
He beat you up.
He trains like trains on the heavy bag every day. Just an absolute nail gun. Great person too. So we had him. We had Ben Harper. We had Goody at the deadline. That was just on D. And then we had Yakov Trenin, me, Jeannot, Big Mike McCarron. Like just meat sticks.
Old
Luke
school.
Cunnin was on that team. Cunny can fight. So like all it's absolute meat sticks. But yeah, that was a fun year. But yeah, I mean, to go back to your question, Jeaner's up there, and probably forgetting a few, but there's some guys pretty much everywhere now.
And there's been a little bit of a revival of it. I feel like there's not as much hate towards it, where people are embracing it, and the game of hockey is turning back into the way it's supposed to be. So it's great to see that you're on top right now, man, and doing your thing. And we're so happy for you. And this has been an awesome interview, man. I didn't know what to expect, but the stories of the locker room, like Whit said, it kind of makes me miss being in there. So it's great to see that Columbus has established an awesome culture to kind of coincide with that unreal fan base, because that's one of the most underappreciated fan bases in the league.
Yeah, big time. They fill up the building. Even the last couple of years, obviously, we're like bottom of the East, and they're there every night.
It's always packed.
They're awesome. Always packed, and they're unbelievable. So we can't wait to give them a reason to cheer even louder.
I'm really happy for you, man. It's pretty cool to see.
I'm not getting the Russian tag.
You're not getting the Russian tag?
No, I'm not that kind of player. Although
you got to get some more
excited when I fight. They get big time excited. They're always the first ones up. So
yeah,
they're
they
like
used to
5
watch
more
that in
years.
the back of their house, their barns. That's how they did it over there.
I
5 more years of training your eyes.
One more Russian story for you guys.
Oh yeah, let's go
I
here.
just thought about something. So I guess in Russia it's pretty standard for guys to be on their phones like between periods and stuff.
Yep.
I guess they like just check their phones or whatever.
Well, the one kid had it fall out of his pants this year.
Yeah.
In a KHL
That was Voronkov's old team. So that's where I was going. So Big Boss is on his phone between warmups and first period. And I'm like, what is he looking at? Like stat sheet? Because we don't really get the game notes anymore. At least in Columbus, we don't. So I'm like, maybe he's just looking at the lineup or whatever. And this guy's watching a video of like a Russian bear just eating something in the backyard. Like just straight watching a reel about a bear just dummying some poor animal. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy didn't really play a hockey game. And
I love this guy. He's my new favorite player.
Big
This
boss,
is my
man.
pet bear, Bruno.
So yeah, anyways, that was my big boss.
If they got 5
story.
Russians there, they should bring in a bear. Fuck it. Let's keep it at one of the guys' houses in the basement.
And a Baza.
And a
They
Baza.
probably have something going. I don't know, but I haven't been invited in the inner circle yet. I'm working my way there.
No, I was gonna say you need like a couple more years of your vision training in the summer, and they might give you a look. But if you miss one tap in, it's done. You're done with those guys.
Done.
If Russians give you a tap in and you miss, it is maybe the most angry people can get. I remember Malcolm. What the fuck?
Got the red dot on your forehead when you're leaving the rink.
The fuck you matches on the bench are unreal when they're in Russian. I'm just sitting there laughing, looking at it. Can't stop. Yeah, but it's great though.
We should get a Russian 5 shirt made up for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
The new Russian 5.
Elvis is Latvian, but he speaks Russian with him. So I think we're going to have to make it the Russian 6, the starting 6 with the goalie.
All right. Well, hey, that name hasn't been taken, so perfect. We're not going to get sued. This has been unreal. Like we're going to get you on if you make playoffs.
Sounds good. I'll try to bring Fantilli or Big Boss with me.
Yeah,
Big
Boss.
Boss.
Bring the Big Boss on.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hey, congrats
right,
on everything, dude. Like, really happy for you. And we've been saying all year we're rooting for the Blue Jackets to get in. So keep it up, man.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Guys, we need to talk about game time for a minute. The best part of college basketball is here, and we know you're as excited as we are to watch some big upsets throughout the tournament. We're going to need the 3rd and 4th round to give us a little bit more upsets, but game time's here. And while we're streaming in the cave, all the Barstool maniacs in Chicago sweating out games, you can get out to see the action in person with Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime. Plus, the Game Time Picks feature makes it even easier to find the great deals on the seats that you want. You can even find last-minute tickets for the tournament for up to 60% off quickly and easily. Also, IceCon coming up Saturday in Nashville. $71 I see right now. You can get a ticket on Game Time. Come be a part of the action with Elio and all the maniacs from IceCon in Nashville. $71 you can grab a ticket for right now. Just pull up your chosen event and turn on the GT Pick setting at the top of the screen, or browse the best local Game Time pick deals near you on your Game Time app homepage. Like I said, Nashville's got the $71 tickets for IceCon. There's deals everywhere for the NCAA tournament. Put on your Game Time picks on the app, find a great deal, and they also have great curated deals for all tiers of tickets. And you know you're getting the top option when you see the super deal icon. What are you waiting for? I'm going to buy those Predators tickets and hang out with Elio and root for goals right now with Game Time picks. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Chiclets for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it, G?
Game time.
Thank you so much to Mathieu Olivier. Guy has deserves all of the things that have come his way in pro hockey, and a great person. Really had a blast chatting with him. Go Blue Jackets. Come on. Although we have said we really want Montreal in, so I one of those two. Let's say that one of those two.
It was fascinating to hear about the neurological stuff that he did.
That's nuts.
And how much it changed everything for him. For him to like take the initiative to go do it. So fuck, there's probably a bunch of kids who heard that and are like, "Oh, I need that shit." Fuck, I needed it.
Yeah, every kid who misses tap-ins, like, I just got to get my brain fixed. No, dude, you got no hands.
He didn't even, somebody noticed it for him. He wasn't out seeking it, right? It's, someone comes up to his dad and says, "Hey, I think you should try this."
Oh, that's right. It was his dad's buddy, wasn't it?
Yeah,
hey,
and then it works.
Your son can't,
Well, I mean, even a follow through with the fact that he's driving an hour and a half and like putting in the time, like, fuck, man. That's ROI on that was pretty good, I guess. 18 sheets in the bank for an absolute nail gun. And I said he's the heavyweight whip because not only is he winning every fight, he's the most active too. And he's getting 15 minutes a game now. So he's not just this like fourth line player, knuckle dragger. This guy is very effective. He's got a career high in goals right now. I believe last time we talked to him, he might have been at 14. I think he's at 16 now. So like just remarkable turnaround this year and finally getting some ice time and making the best of it. So you got a good one there in Columbus, and you got some games that you can make work for you. Ottawa 3 times. Let's go CBJ.
Biz, he just looks, and obviously you're the fighter out of us. He just looks so calm in the pocket. He looks like a boxer that's just like waiting. He's not afraid to like make that first move. He's just like in the pocket. Like where, I think in no offense to you were more like squirrely, like grabbing guys. Like he's just it looks like he's, in bed at night, just like.
I fought like I stick handled, right? Very choppy, sloppy. He looks very confident, like you said, in the pocket. It was interesting to hear him say that he doesn't really care to watch the other guy he's fighting. It's more about what he's bringing into the fight. And you could just tell he's going in with that killer instinct. He's throwing those hard, quick punches.
Yeah,
He's also able to use his leverage hand to almost pull the guy in tighter. And sometimes those guys who are compact like that, working in close is almost more of a benefit. So his ability to go over and under as fast as he's doing and having the control of his body in which he does, absolutely remarkable. And once again, it will always come down to willingness. He just has he's seeing red. He's putting on the jersey. He's going out there and he's expecting it every night. And he's like, oh yeah, you want a fucking shot at the title? Let's go.
Gladly. Also, we should have mentioned in that little Saturday recap in Montreal, Colorado, awesome fight. Keaton Middleton ends up like roughing it up behind the Montreal net, and Jack-Eye comes in. Great tilt. Jack-Eye smashed him down at the end. Maybe gets the win, but that was an awesome fight.
Yeah, I think it was a Josh Anderson who might be battling a little bit of injury. Middleton kind of went after him net front, protecting the goalie, and then all of a sudden, Jack-Eye was foaming at the mouth, gave him the shimmy shake. They dodged the referees, and then they just started throwing the haymakers. So I would definitely say edge to Wi-Fi on that one, although the fans hate when I call him that name, but I don't give a shit. I'm calling him it anyway. Yeah, some good action there. So definitely feel like people are so much hungrier for fights ever since the ordeal at Four Nations. Everybody wants it.
Everybody wants them. The fans, the players love watching them. Some of the players love doing it. I certainly didn't. Keith certainly didn't. And it kind of leads us into LA and Boston. And we'll get to the GM meetings in a sec, but the LA Kings smashed the Bruins 7-2. I mean, the Bruins are horrible. They're right on their way to getting a top 5 pick, which is actually, I think, what most Bruins fans want. That's perfect. But they are just horrible right now. And in the midst of the game, Jeremy Swayman, he starts shaking the gloves at Darcy Kemper. And Darcy Kemper comes out of the crease and says, all right, let's do it. Goalie fights are, I think, one of the most exciting moments you can have in hockey. Like, I'd rather a goalie fight than a goalie goal. They're both awesome, but two goalies squaring off center ice, that's like awesome scenario every time. And the refs break it up. The internet was aghast. They were furious. The fans watching at home were pissed off. At least if the Bruins are going to get pounded, let me watch a fight between Kemper and Swayman. Keith, were you the one? Yeah, you texted the group that apparently this is like a no-no. The refs are told to break these up.
Yeah, so you see it every time. You even saw it with Fleury when Fleury was trying to fight. Was it Binnington a couple of years ago? The refs got in right away. So that's the first time I reached out to a ref about it. And then obviously with this one too, and they're told the owners do not want it. Like, your most important player breaks his hand in a fight, that's not going to mean anything. So my proposal was, if there's a goalie's going to go at it at center ice, the two backups should have to come off the bench and go meet at center ice and fight each other.
Or
wait,
allow
tag
them to
team
keep their
match
blockers
or just
on.
the backups fight?
Just the backups fight. The starters start it, like, you know, all right, shaking the gloves, and then you look over the bench and the backup comes out.
But what if Eric Comrie starts it for Winnipeg? He's like, come on, Hellebuck, it's your turn, buddy. So it's basically like, if the real starters in the game, backup fights. If the backup's playing, the backup tilts.
Backup fights, yeah.
Okay.
That's
sitting
my
on the
proposal.
bench. He's like, oh, shit. He's starting another one. Binnington gets his backup into 14 fights in one season.
Olivier's the backup goalie for Columbus.
Oh, I wanted to see that, though. And then after, I'm so confused by the quote by Zadorov. He was asked if he believes, gee, can you play it?
Do you guys appreciate that Jeremy stuck up for Lucinino?
Is that what it is?
Look like it.
Okay. I don't know. No comment.
Zadorov seems very confused that, like, they're even mentioning that Swayman's trying to, like, stick up for teammates and gives the no comment. Biz, how did you take that?
I don't know. I saw the video and, like, I don't want to mess up whatever the context was. Maybe he was, like you said, confused by the question. Like, people were trying to make it out as if though, like, he was kind of like maybe almost like kind of rolling his eyes at the fact that Swayman was trying to protect a teammate. I won't take it that way until he's asked and maybe confirmed or denies. So I don't want to hop on that one. I don't want to get I don't want Zadorov acting like Sheldon Keefe all of a sudden on me. So I'm just gonna stay away from this one.
Biz needs to start podcasting a little better. Let's have him worry about that.
I almost feel that he got so upset because I feel like he thought like the reporter was almost taking a shot at him. Like, hey, it's kind of your job. It's your job to defend these guys. It's your job to defend these guys, and you have your goalie doing it. Like, what's going on here type thing. And he's kind of like, no, fuck off. No question. If that was what that was, but who knows?
Okay.
That's why it's always good reading all the comments underneath, because people have different opinions on like how it was taken. So I definitely agree with G. I felt like it was more something like that than he was actually carving Swayman. It seemed like some people thought he was kind of taking a dig at Swayman, right? Is that what you're trying to insinuate, Mr. Boston hater?
Well, I don't really know how he was taking it, but yes, people were kind of saying that. Okay. Almost like, dude, just stop the puck. Like, we just need you to stop the puck. Just a horrible year for the Boston Bruins. I can't wait to see Marchand start playing for Florida. But the GMs, they were in Florida. They were having their meetings, and Gary Bettman was asked about the possibility of switching up the playoff format, and this guy has dug his heels in on this one. He's made it very clear, like telling everyone, I like it how it is. It will not be changed. We did chat about how it doesn't change that much. It seems like every year it would pretty much end up being 1 through 8 the way it is now. It just sucks on years like this when you get Dallas, Colorado in the first round. But Keith, Bettman has said it's going to remain with the divisions and figure it out that way.
Yeah, I think it's also tough to kind of question him too with where the game's at right now and the rivalries. I think, the game's in such a good spot with, the ideas that they've been running with the last few years. So I personally would like 1 through 8, because if I'm a 1 seed and I got to play a team that, a team like Dallas as opposed to a team like St. Louis, I'm pretty pissed off. So it's one of those things I can't question his logic on it. It's working so far. It's making, I think the rivalries are getting bigger and better. I don't know if that's just because the game's so good or the matchup wise, but yeah, for me, I can't question his logic behind it.
I'm pretty much exactly where Jans is on it. I was far more critical of it before. I also think that was coming from a player mentality where if I'm a 2 playing a 3, I'm furious because I just played 82 games to gain some type of advantage. And like, you're telling me all I get is home ice and I got to play Colorado, even if they do get home ice in that situation. So that's kind of where I was coming from before. But like, now that I'm a fan and I'm on this side, and at the end of the day, it's about the fans, like, we're going into round 1, which like you think of March Madness, those first few days, it's just absolutely chaos, right? Like, when will the most people be watching the game of hockey? In the first 2 rounds of NHL playoffs. So to solidify the fact that you're going to have some really, really good matchups, not only on the East and Western games, like, you're not going to get like the NBA product where a lot of times when the 1s and 2s are playing the 7s and 8s, like you're getting 5 games, 4 games Max. In most cases. Now that is the basketball product where it seems to be a lot less, what's the word I'm looking for? The parity doesn't seem to be as good. But so I've now leaned back towards what Jans is saying, where I really can't question the mentality of the league because everything they have decided, including the point structure where, listen, we were in the dog days, but it's hard to be in the dog days when literally 5 teams in the East are competing for a wild card spot.
Right.
You don't know what the first round is going to entail, whether it's going to be a Kachuk Bowl, whether it's going to be a Battle of Ontario, or even going out west where you're going to get this team like St. Louis who looked like they were dead to rights. Well, they've snuck in before in a spot, and then look what they've done. So it's just overall, like, I went back last year saying that was the most exciting NHL season of all time. Like, I think we're right back to that argument based on everything that's happened, including the 4 nations. The Ovi goal chase, what is he, 7 away now? That's still a hot topic. Fighting's up. The passion in the game's back. Like, there's potential for 6 Canadian teams to be in playoffs if Montreal and the Flames make it. So, yeah, man, going back to the original topic, keep it the way it is. Keep the point system the way it is. Everything seems to be interesting, the full 82 at this point.
I go back and forth, but one thing on the way they have it now that is good is you are guaranteed some very special matchups within the division early. And no matter what way you go, 1 through 8 or the way it is now, the finals can always end up being two teams the league is not thrilled about. Like if Winnipeg plays Carolina this year, Gary could have a stroke in his office, right? And that can happen no matter what. So you have the first round. And now like, all right, we're getting some sick rivalries within the division early, and we're guaranteeing some sick matchups because we don't know what two teams is going to end up playing for the cup. So I see that. The other thing that was chatted about, all the insiders were mentioning.
If I had to go to Carolina for the TNT finals, like I might need private security.
Yeah,
that'd
that's
be
true.
like imagine you going to a Houston's in Carolina.
Oh, I'm done.
God,
I'm dead. You might as well.
Fucked.
Yeah, you might as well bring
fucked.
my parents in. I'll say my final goodbyes.
He just throws Yolanda in front of the Irish Traveler.
But boys, as messy as that whole situation was, my favorite word, did that not galvanize the group or what? They rattled off 8 in a row. They got dummied by LA, but you're bound to have a letdown game. Yeah. But then they go right back to their winning ways. So it's Halsey. Looks like he's fitting in great
Hat
there.
trick.
Hat trick. Jankowski. People try to say that the Rantanen deal included Taylor Hall. My understanding is it was kind of like a third rounder for Taylor Hall, and that was it.
That was a separate deal.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Now Chicago had taken some of the money for Rantanen.
Yeah,
half of Rantanen's money. So maybe it was like in the midst of that three-way. I've been involved in a lot of three-ways lately, so I'm getting maybe a little confused.
If you people listening heard the story that this guy told us before we started recording, I tell you to go park your car before you listen to it. But it was not being recorded. It was not being recorded. Great three-way trade there, though, Biz.
Great three-way trade.
Well, Biz might be joining OnlyFans, so you guys might be
everybody
overseas.
won. Pasha refused to be my cameraman, so I'm currently looking for somebody new. Fish is probably like, I want a job. I want the job.
He's already in your room.
I got a password already.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know the ins and outs on how to post.
Post during March Madness.
Hey, G's like, no, Chiclets cute, Chiclets you. It's like, nah, we're on a greener pastures now, buddy.
G posts the Chiclets you.
I'm getting milk.
As the puck drops for the gold medal game in the Olympics next winter. The other news that the insiders were mentioning is expansion. Now, would love both of your opinions on this. So I don't even know the name. Some big hitter came in Houston, and there's going to be a team at Houston at some point, and there's going to be a team in Atlanta at some point. It seems like I don't know what year this will happen, but the cap's going up. It'll go up I've even higher if you get 2 more teams in. I don't know, though. Like, I'm watching Philly, Chicago yesterday, and I'm like, Jesus
Yeah, that's
Christ.
where you got to worry yourself about
These
watering
teams
it all
are
down.
awful. And then you're getting 2 more, and I guess making more money for the players, I'm all in, because the players will make more, the salaries will be higher, the cap goes up, awesome. I want players to make money, become rich. But the product, guys, with 2 more teams, where are you sitting on that, Keith or Biz?
I heard even up to 36 teams.
No,
but
that's crazy.
I don't know. You just feel like Houston's name has been thrown around so much lately that at some point it's got to happen, right? And for a $2 billion, is that what they're saying for expansion?
1.5 to start.
Like
So by the time Atlanta comes around, it might be 1.7, closer to 2. Like, that is so much fucking money. You know, the other owners are just salivating at that, because when it's
players
expansion,
get 0. Players get 0 of that.
I know.
Hey,
but
that's
more
where-
contracts.
That's where these new CBA negotiations are coming up. That's where there should be definitely never be any escrow. Former players should have insurance paid for. Like, fuck off. If you got 2 more teams coming in, we're talking a total of $3.2 billion in revenue for the owners. Give me a fucking break if these former players don't have insurance. Like, this is going to be a very pivotal moment for the NHLPA to understand where this is all going money-wise and secure their bag just as much as ownership. Now, it seems like the fans always lose in these situations. I had Josh, one of our behind-the-scenes camera guys here yesterday. He mentioned that the Leafs are jacking up ticket prices like 20% next year.
I saw that.
Like, holy fuck, man.
Buddy, Edmonton is like, I think one of the most expensive arenas too. Beers, it is. Yeah, you're right. The
Maybe
fans
there's
do
an
get hosed.
opportunity with those two expansion fees coming in for there to be a little bit of a pause on jacking up prices for these fans. Like maybe there's a way for everybody to win here. Cause like when I heard that, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's going to be like corporate meetings going on in there. Just woof down below, and then the corporate meetings during the game, and nobody cheering on what the fuck's actually going on the ice. But
nobody even watching.
Yeah, it's. I think I agree with you though, Whit. I'm concerned about watering down the product. I do think that maybe if it isn't rushed, and let's say it's like 4 or 5 years from now, I think with the growth of hockey in America, and even with the amount of people who are coming from overseas, like it seems to be another wave of Russian players coming out too. I think that maybe it wouldn't be a bad time for it to align with that. Like it's college hockey's grown, the viewership's grown. There's better players coming out of the States. I think that it would be a good opportunity to expand. But I think that ultimately, if it was my decision and taking out all other factors, I'd actually like to minimize the amount of teams. I would want more talent on the ice all the time than watering it down. We don't want any Bissonets out there. Let's just put it that way. Like
well, hence why like the Four Nation did so well is because people who knew nothing about hockey, when you're seeing the best players on the ice, it's a different level of viewership, right? You're seeing just every player on the ice is a superstar where, yeah, I don't know, because as a player, you want more teams, that's more jobs, more opportunities for guys to make it. But, you know, for us who have to watch these games, like we're the ones who would have to suffer, you know, watching like Philly, Chicago, couple or whoever the teams are in the next few years, that's more on us. So I would feel bad more for us in the media side than the players.
Okay, so here's a question for you guys. Gun to your head. You have to take out a team from each conference in the NHL currently. Who
Buffalo. See ya.
I would take out Long Island before Buffalo.
Yeah, because the
even
Sabres
with the
fans,
history and.
Are you talking relegate them or they're done?
They're
out
done.
of the
Like
league.
if you had to snip one team from each conference currently.
Yeah. Shit,
I'm going
dude,
Buffalo with you, Whit.
I know, but like I feel like the Sabres have better fans than the Islanders.
Agreed.
And the Sabres deserve to stay more because they've never won anything. The Islanders had that dynasty. It's one of those two. Out west, Phoenix is already gone. Oh, man. That's a tough one, dude.
Is it, though?
I would say Man Jose.
I hate to
and it's
say
not just because they're in last, because when you go there, there's just like absolutely no trim. Love their goal horn. Love the Shark Tank and everything, but just
you know what? After
there's a drought.
playing for them, it might be Anaheim, and I feel bad. I was a Duck for one season.
No, buddy, you're living in.
I don't know, man.
Newport.
LA's already up there. LA's right there.
I think Anaheim and San Jose should combined make one team, get a team back in Phoenix. Get a team back in Phoenix. No more San Jose. They can play in Anaheim area. Just a little nicer, more trim for you, Biz. I don't know that. I would probably say Anaheim too, but I always liked going to Anaheim.
Newport Beach.
True gonna
is
love
just
it.
a
We had the
special
True
place.
Gonna Love It restaurant. Have we told that story on the pod?
For sure.
Oh, we'll move on here.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. All I'm doing is picturing Houston playing Buffalo on a Sunday afternoon in 4 years. And they both have 37 points just battling it out for last place in the league. And the whole league all the fans being like, what are we watching right now? This is the NHL. Biz is getting minutes. He signed.
Darlene's the GM of the team.
They signed an OnlyFans star, Paul Bissonnette, for a 1-game contract to fight Olivier. Gets all his teeth knocked out, but still has an OnlyFans video drop that night from some of the trim
You're
in Buffalo.
a fucking idiot.
I don't know. It's I do like the players getting more money. I also think at the end of this CBA, if somehow former players are getting their insurance paid for, Marty Walsh may bring up Matt Murley's name in the press conference. Like, nobody has talked more about this. And I still think, knowing Merles, the true mush, they might end up passing this with guys who have played a certain amount of games, and it'll be one more game than Merle's played. That's how it may end up going down. Like, how many games did Merle's play? 70?
It's like the guy at Shawshank who kept writing. It was Andy who kept writing the letters to get more books.
Andy Dufresne.
Merle's played 62 games. It's going to be like 65 games or more has their health insurance paid for the rest of their lives.
Since we kind of went off the rails a little bit regarding that topic of expansion, what were some other things they discussed at the GM meetings that are worthwhile? No All-Star game?
They talked about the All-Star game. Yeah, they talked about next year somehow doing a skills competition thing, but not having a game because they're all taken off from there anyways to Torino. So, yeah, like after this year, it's really hard to imagine there ever being an All-Star game again. Maybe you just always just have a skills competition, like a skills competition on steroids with some crazy stuff. Now, granted, they've done the shots on the beach when it was in Florida. That was brutal.
I feel there's another way that they can generate revenue. Like, they're better off, honestly, doing another outdoor game as opposed to putting the resources. Like, I don't mind though. People are like, oh, another outdoor game, another outdoor. Not every fan base gets to enjoy them. Like, you don't always have to go do the exact same cities either. Like the one Columbus and Detroit, like that did great. Like, what about some non-traditional markets doing it there? Like, to put the resources into something that where like majority of the time the players, some of the players who have never been to an All-Star game and they're young and they're like, wow, this is cool, especially if it's in a good location. But fuck, I mean, Jans, didn't you go to like two of the worst ones? Like, no offense to the cities, like 3. You went to Ottawa, where?
Raleigh,
Houston.
San Jose.
No, San Jose.
You went to San Jose.
Carolina. Yeah. San Jose, Carolina, and Ottawa. Yeah.
Oh, those are your 3 All-Star games.
I mean, think I'd rather get a happy Easter text.
Guys, what would you think about, and I brought this up on Game Notes, like what would you guys think about potentially doing like a mini Olympics 23 and under? Like, just that you said it's great for the
World
young guys.
Juniors?
It's almost like World Juniors, but for the guys that are in the NHL, that are guys that are someday going to get to play in the Olympics. They're not just there yet. But it would be good to, people obviously like rooting for their country. That's something that we can get behind. And it's a good way to promote the young guys.
I think that you just give them that one, considering that there's going to be the World Cup every 2, then Olympics, then World Cup. I think you give them a year of nothing. Like, allow these guys to rest. Maybe in those years, you go to 84 games during the regular season. There's also word that they're talking about starting the season earlier, correct? And
Biz, I don't know. I thought it's going to remain October.
Correct for now, but I think that there was discussion maybe going further down the road. And I think right now what they're doing is they're waiting for basketball to make a decision, because my understanding is basketball might not even start till like November, maybe even consider starting after Christmas. Like, basketball to me is something that you'd want to consume in the summertime. Like, by the time mid-July or mid-June hits, like, most people are checked out of hockey, man. They're just not
to the beach.
So why get your designated days during the week, the Tuesdays, the Wednesdays,
Sundays,
and the Fridays. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to start this. Listen, I know we joke about that, but I'm saying you can't avoid that, but yet still have entertaining games on and not combat with NFL. And at the fact that you wouldn't be competing with the NBA, I believe that you would get more eyeballs just because of that alone. So I think that people are checked out by then. And I also think that those years in between give these players a little bit longer between games to recover. It doesn't always, there should be no 4 and 3s in a year with that, like where there's no All-Star game. Like, none of that shit. Like there should only be like maybe 5 back-to-backs. Like, let's keep the product better in regards to not wearing these guys out. And you could, if you're telling me that there's too much lost revenue from one All-Star game to make up for it, you could do something else in order to make up that revenue. You can.
G just wrote here, Elliot Friedman also mentioned that the CBA talks are going to begin like in April, and that there was discussion, it says, of tax credits, like a higher cap for the higher tax markets like California, New York, Canada. So I've been saying, like, they kind of do it. They have to do something about this. I think a lot of people argue it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be.
Yes, it is.
I don't know.
Yes, it is, because not only are you, it hurts probably Canadian teams the most with, and let's just be plain honest, it's not pleasant playing in Canada. Fans know about your business. Everything is the end of the world. It's nonstop. You saw, like, you're telling me you're going to pay 50% tax playing in BC, dealing with that media circus every year. If you have the chance to play in Dallas, Florida, any of these other places, you should be at least getting paid market value to what those other teams would be paying them, or have the opportunity to. And if they don't do it, it's going to continue to kill Canadian teams. It's going to. And I know the dollar shit right now, so it's probably a bad time to bring up the Canadian markets. But if it gets back to 25 cents on the dollar, you need to see your Canadian teams thriving. Like, you got to. So this is something that has to happen.
The fans are still going to be all in people's business and know everything about you, no matter what the cap is for those
I know,
teams.
but you shouldn't be getting charged a tax on top of that. Where the team could be able to offer you more money to keep you. Like, you're just simply not going to put up with both. If you're getting the money, you're like, okay, I could put up with this and stay there, given the fact that I'm not basically taking a hometown discount because I'm getting taxed 11% more because I'm getting offered the same deal by Florida or even less. So that's,
it just
to me,
becomes sketchy when, like, if somebody were to be traded, like, then it's like, I guess you could figure it out, but then it's just kind of madness of, like, does the salary drop depending on where you go?
That's a great question, and one of those kind of like loopholes where you would see GMs start to exploit that if they didn't figure out, maybe like if he has to spend at least 1 year, full year in your organization till when he does get traded, it's at the whatever rate it's at.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, it's definitely a storyline now. It's definitely a storyline where you see guys making a lot more money when their salary is actually less than somebody in a place like Massachusetts, New York, or Canada. So kind of crazy there. But we're on to the quick hits. This is presented by Dove Men's Plus Care. Finally, a scrub designed for men's needs. Add the new Dove Men Plus Care body and face scrub to your shower routines. Use in the shower, bath, or at your sink. Apply to wet skin, rinse clean, and follow with your favorite Dove Men Plus Care body wash or cleansing bar. I'm a bar guy. I've made that clear. Scrub transforms how you and your skin feel, and it's made for your face, your body, your scalp, everywhere. Dove Men Plus Body Care. If you want to try Dove Men Plus Care, find it at Walmart. They're all over the place, these Walmarts. Find it at Walmart today. I can't believe I forgot to mention this when talking about the Oilers. I'm sorry, just to quickly bring this up. This Carney guy, Mark Carney, is that his name? And this guy is out there at a pregame skate. And I'm telling you, people are coming at me on Twitter like, I don't care which way he leans politically. It could be the right-wing guy or the left-wing guy. You don't have a politician on the ice during pregame skate. Not to mention a politician who can't skate. He's shooting absolute
That's what I looked like.
Back foot.
Weak wrist, huh, Biz?
That was me.
I couldn't believe it. And I don't care which way he leans politically. You have people who are insane about politics now. They hate people on one side. They hate people on the other side. Don't bring politicians on the ice, let alone a practice day. We're talking pregame skate. Do you think that, like, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins wants some politician standing next to him before a game? You have your preparations. You have what you need to do that night. You're thinking about what you need to get accomplished in the morning to be ready to play that night. And you got a guy standing next to you that half the country hates. What the hell are we doing? The Carney curse. I'm telling you, it's amazing they've won a couple games since he skated. I couldn't believe it. What are the Oilers thinking? And I'm told that the guy hates oil in Alberta. So maybe go to, like, Toronto or something. I don't know, where he's maybe a little bit more popular. Politicians on the ice for pregame skate is worse than sending a Happy Easter text by a mile. And I couldn't believe it happened. So I had to bring that up.
Well, the good news is at least they're evening it out. That Pierre Poilievre is actually singing the anthem, the American anthem, at the next Oilers game. Singing both, apparently. I said the American, but it's both. I just read. So at least they're snapping it around and they're not just being favoritism to one person.
Can you imagine if, like, Ted Cruz was on the ice with the Panthers? Like, what are we doing here? Have some kid on the ice or something.
Hey, Barky, go back door if I got it at the top of the circle.
Mark Carney's asking Knobloch, like, well, what's the PK formation? Can I get in the mix on a drill? No, dude, you're a politician who can't skate. Get off the ice. Craziness.
Colorado inviting Biden's kid, him and Nichushkin, get off the rails.
Colorado was going to get
We're
another
off the
Stanley
rails.
Cup. Then Hunter Biden showed up at practice, and we can't find Nichushkin.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
I'm glad we saved this for quick hits.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, the Carney curse.
The Carney
Ted
curse.
Kennedy skating with the Bruins in the 70s. Next thing you know, Bobby Orr never plays a game. We're like, what happened? Oh, they brought a politician on the ice. Three-game skate. The Carolina Hurricanes are expected
Oh, the
to
JFK files came out. Did you guys read those?
I didn't read them. I saw on
Me neither.
Twitter that like apparently like everything's like what people have always thought. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're gonna stay away from that one. I guess that he wasn't the only shooter though. I've been to that Dallas book depository on the we had a game there and I went over there. People are like, what'd you think? Do you think it could have been one guy? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I was just checking out some books. I was trying to find a book that I was looking for. I didn't even know he was killed there. JFK. Yeah, Biz. Forgot about that. Good thing you brought that up in quick hits. The Carolina Hurricanes
Quick hits.
are expected to court Mitch Marner if the Toronto Maple Leafs winger hits free agency this summer. That's from Pierre LeBrun. I think everyone's going to be courting Mitch Marner. You wanna
that's
go with
no
that?
surprise. And I think that given the way that everything is shaken out, that he deserves to go hear what the other offers are. I mean, of course, because he's an unrestricted free agent, but just that maybe how he's probably felt a little slighted based on performance, yet them still asking him to waive the no move and move on to a different team, considering I would say that he's probably been the Toronto Maple Leafs MVP from the start of the year till now. People might say Nylander was extremely dominant, especially in the goal department early on, but I just feel like from front to back, you could argue that it's Mitch Marner. And if not him and Willie, well, Willie's got his 8 years, right? So he's got his bank secured. But yeah.
Biz, question.
Yeah.
What if you could only pick one? Nyes signing 8.5 times 8 or Marner signing 13.75 times
Yeah,
8?
you got to stick with Nyes. It's just like he just
Really?
adds-
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like you're talking about
Mitch is not going to like hearing this.
No,
I
it's
don't
a
know,
sig-
Biz. Like Nyes is nice when he's playing with some
So
studs.
you're telling me that you should be paying a winger regardless how good he's played. I think playoffs will have everything to do with my answer. But if you ask me that right now, Nyes is something we don't have. We don't have that. You know, we have a guy as good as Marner on the wing, and it's William Nylander. You know,
Okay.
I think that Bobby McMahon could be a 30-goal guy too. I think that where I think you just kind of need a power forward, and that's one thing they're really lacking. If you get rid of him, like one of Toronto's biggest issues is how soft they've been. Well, he not only scores goals, he hits people. Like you saw with the White Cloud stuff, like he could even chuck them. He's a lefty. He'll handle his own business if he has to. So you can't get rid of a guy like that, especially coming off of entry level and getting him in at a number like 8.5, where you said he might get offer sheeted. I just don't. I think that Marner's going to get $14 million in free agency. I think he probably could go be the superstar of a smaller market team, and that's pretty much how it's going to shake out. That's where I'm leaning anyway.
I feel like he's a guy no matter what, even if he was leaning towards signing back with Toronto, that he's going to test the market just to feel the love, see what's out there. And I don't know, at the end of the day, Biz, like, are you ready? Is this his last season with the boys?
I've mentally been prepared for that since the off season. Things changed the way the season started. Then to hear they tried to make a deal at the deadline like that, and the fact that it gets out. Well, I guess it got out because they fucking asked them. But that's just kind of the writing on the wall for me.
We talk about deciding not to sign players with Holloway and Broberg in Edmonton. I think Kiefer Sherwood not being signed by the Nashville Predators is an all-time fumble for this season. He broke the record for the NHL record for hits in a season. Crazy. And Biz, what was it, like 1.5 he wanted? Or
he wanted 1.5 from Nashville, and my understanding is that they didn't want to pay him as much as they were paying McCarron. And I believe McCarron's their fourth line center, and he's a big guy. He could chuck him. He plays physical, but I think we can all agree on, like, based on what we've seen this year, Kiefer Sherwood is a superior player. Like Kiefer Sherwood, the way that he plays and the Energizer Bunny that he is and how he forward, I would say he's a $3 million player. And the fact that they got him locked in for one more year at 1.5, I think that Nashville management and what they did, man, they're going to have to give themselves a very strong look in the mirror. And the worst part about it is like, this might just be the beginning. Like they've committed to these older players to be able to get the job done and bring them into a playoff position. And now with 15 games left, you got their head coach asking them to remain professional for the remaining games. That's when you're moving off of guys for 1.5 who are doing what they're doing, and you're signing these big tickets to old guys. I don't know if they're. I would imagine that Trotz, based on what he's been able to accomplish in hockey, has a few bullets left in the chamber in order to turn this around, but not many more if this is how things are going to proceed. Because it's like, not only are they not going to make playoffs, this team was abysmal to watch. And I know they beat my Leafs the other night, but every fucking Preds game I watched was reminding me of last year, them in playoffs against Vancouver. Like 20 shots a night, like slow, boring Islanders 2.0 hockey. Right? Am I being too critical here?
Yeah, they could have easily. They could have won that series too. Like, I mean, Shelov's like saved Vancouver against them.
It was who was going to hypnotize the other team with their boring play the most. That was who was going to win that one.
So he broke the record was Jeremy Lazon had 383 hits. He got his 384th. I played 459 games, and I'm almost positive I didn't get 384 hits in my career. He had it in one season. Crazy. I do remember going to Madison Square Garden, and I'd get like 3. They were very kind of, what's the word? Where they'd give them out easily.
Freebies?
Yeah, like that's not
Jerseys.
the word.
Jerseys like that too. That's why.
Generous.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Generous. Yeah, they're a little generous in MSG, but that's an incredible number just to be running around killing people all season. 7 goals to go.
Just talking about Sherwood, I think especially for that group, you look at that group, they're a softer team, and I think he brings guys into the fight a little bit more. Like if they didn't have him this year, I think they'd be way worse off than they are now. Like, you see a guy like that going out every night and getting 4 or 5 hits every night. Like, you have to, as a player on that team, if you respect your teammates, you have to up your level a little bit. And I think he's bringing that to that group, and he's been a huge part of why they're, still kind of in the hunt a little bit.
Actually, G just wrote here, speaking of Vancouver a little bit, they announced Demko is back tonight. Well, last night for people listening, Tuesday. First time since February 8th. And Pettersson and Hoglander, who left the game injured, they got sent home from the road trip. There's 4 more games. That is bad news for the Canucks.
Not good.
Trying to squeak in the playoffs. So, Demko, I mean,
what do you make of that, Whit? Like, I don't know what's wrong with PD, but like, you go to New York. He's been playing a little bit better lately. I think that after the first period, they had JT Miller's stats, and it was like he'd thrown like 2 or 3 hits, and they were both against PD, and then all of a sudden PD goes down the tunnel. Like, I don't know what he's injured with, but like I don't know, man. Like Brady's fucking playing on one. Brady Tkachuk's playing on one hip, and he's on the bench opening the doors for the guys. Like
yeah. You would think too, because it's Miller. Like, I'm not leaving the game.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
I'm at least gonna sit on the bench here.
Challenge him to a fight, for fuck's sakes. If you're
Miller
useless.
Also gave a shove to Quinn Hughes in that game. Who knows? They could just be fucking around, but just gave him a little hit against the boards after. Yeah, Pettersson. That storyline isn't going anywhere. And yes, he's been a little better, but what he's making and how he looks all season, it's crazy. I mean, Jeff Jacobson, he's a huge Canucks fan. He's like, I am at a loss for words at this point of the player that we're watching compared to the years prior and what he did before that contract. It's a wild story, but yeah, that sucks. I mean, 4 games, if you get sent home, you're not coming back on the road. So now they got 4 games without him. At least Demko's back. I'm rooting for Demko too. Fuck, that guy's been through a lot. He just cannot stay healthy. I hate seeing players being injured that often. I just know what it's like to kind of go through that. A guy who's rarely ever injured is Alex Ovechkin. I know he was this season, but he's been a horse for 20 years. He's got 7 goals left. Biz, it is turning into something where when you wanted it to be next year to have the summer storyline be the Ovi chase and when he'll do it, now I'm kind of rattled if it's like, I didn't agree with you then. Now I'm like, it can't be next year. If he needs 2 goals, like it just takes away a lot of the excitement for me. Now, what he's done this year, missing games, it has to be this year now.
I'm just a little concerned that if it happens, like they can't prepare for it and put it on the pedestal it deserves. Maybe my opinion on that has left just kind of at the excitement overall about the Washington Capitals and what they've been able to do, and that they might win the President's Trophy. But it might be one of those situations, boys, and I think it was Army who might have mentioned in the group chat, like this could be like a massive nut burst, and then like you just got no more energy left for playoffs. Like they let out this huge nut, and then like you got the spaghetti legs. You know, everybody's been built up to this moment, and then boom, game 81. Yeah, we're all on the ice. We're celebrating in the locker room like we just won a playoff series, if not the Stanley Cup. Pop the champagne. Yes, I am scorer, Alex Ovechkin, and then losing 5 first rounds.
Legs.
So that would be my biggest concern. You don't want the cum legs.
Yeah, I think that group, I don't think that could rattle them that much. I think just the way that they've handled their business all year the chase has been talked about all year and, kind of died down a little bit when he got hurt, but, it's been at the forefront of the whole league all year. So I don't think it would hurt them too much. I still think they could lose first round no matter what, but I don't think that's, I agree with you. It has to happen this year.
Yeah, it'll just be, it's still this insane record. It'll be incredible. But if he needs 2 or 3 goals next year, it's just so different. They actually have the Jets tonight in a battle for the President's Trophy, those 2 teams. They got the Wild. He should be able to get one against them. He's got the Sabres. He could get 4 that game. We're watching Buffalo play. They got the Bruins. He actually might break it in the next 4 games. They go Wild, Sabres, Bruins. And he's got the Blackhawks. He's got the Blue Jackets twice. It is 12 games left, those 7 goals. Not shocking at all if he does it, but that's not easy. And the crazy thing is, it truly might come down to the Penguins, the final game of the year, where Sidney Crosby, guys, is about to also break a record that is just mind-blowing to me. He needs 2 more points to guarantee himself his 20th season at a point-per-game player, breaking Wayne Gretzky's record of 19 years doing it. That is out of control. To never, ever, this would mean in his life, he's never been below a point per game. Like he certainly wasn't below a point per game when he was 9.
No.
Right? When he was 11 years old, he was probably 3 or 4 points per game.
Yeah, they don't really follow around kids with CBC with a camera crew if you're below a point per game when you're 13 years old. It's not really part of the criteria.
20 years, dude. He's also leading the league in 5-on-5 points. Like
that's the craziest stat of the season. The fact that he's leading the hardest to score or get points in the NHL 5-on-5. It doesn't happen a lot now, just with how good teams are defensively, where goaltenders are at. And he's got 51, you said?
Oh, I didn't say the number. I just mentioned that he's leading the league. Yeah. It's crazy. And God. You know, we were talking about recently when would he ever leave, and so many people have said he never would. I think part of it might be he's so insane. He's obviously an insane human being to be this good and this dedicated and driven. He might actually think like every season, like we can win the cup. Like I can carry us to the Stanley Cup. Maybe that's why he's never going to leave, because in his brain, he's like, no, we can do it. We can do it because I can do anything. Anything I've ever wanted to accomplish, I have. And I'm going to get Pittsburgh another Stanley Cup. That really might be what's going through his brain. Sid the Kid, 20 years in a row with over a point per game. Craziness.
Insane.
The league announced the Penguins and the Predators will face off in a pair of games in Sweden next year as part of the Global Series. Jeez, what the poor people in Sweden do to deserve that? You're sending over the Penguins in Nashville. They don't sell out the game.
Well, they got Forsberg. What other Swedes do they have? Oh,
Carlson.
Yeah, Carlson.
Raquel.
Yeah, Raquel. Okay.
But it's all about, I guess, all the Europeans, right? Like
Jens, were you on our team when we did the Prague?
Yeah, I was on every team that you were in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were there every time. Remember when we went to
one year
Prague?
you got sent down and he made the team.
Hey, remember we went to Prague? There was like 20 Czech guys, both teams.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. Yeah, because we played the Bruins. It was unreal. That was one of the funnest trips ever. We were hanging with the Bruins guys. We're like, hopefully we just split these. Like we each get and we did. It was perfect.
And they won the cup that year.
Yeah. And we won the toilet bowl.
You know what's wild is so the year I did it with the Penguins, when I played 15 games, I did the World Premier games where we played Ottawa and Pittsburgh won the Stanley Cup. And then I did it with the Coyotes and then we played Boston and then they won the Stanley Cup. Yeah, a little fun fact for all you people out there.
Didn't Florida start the season last year in Finland, or was that this year? And they won.
I can't even remember.
Was that this year or last year?
I think it was this. No, this year was Dallas and was it Dallas, Florida?
Yeah. Yes.
I think Florida might have been 2 years in a row.
Barkov, because it was after Barkov won it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Anything else in the quick hits? Or are we done quick hits?
Quickly, I read. Do you guys know that? Because we're talking about President's Trophy. You know, Washington plays Winnipeg, President's Trophy. So the last team to win the Stanley Cup after winning the President's Trophy was 2013. That was the Blackhawks, but it was a shortened season. Before that, it was actually 2008 when the Wings won it. They beat the team I was on, the Pittsburgh Penguins. So it's like, who cares about the President's Cup, I guess, right? It's kind of wild, though, that two in the last, 18, 17 years, and one of them wasn't even a full season when Chicago beat the Bruins in 13. So kind of crazy. I didn't realize that. Quick hits, Biz. Thomas Hurdle, dude.
No.
He's been on fire. I wonder what you thought about this hit. This is Hurdle's last 10 games. 1-1, 2 points. Then he had an assist. Then he had a hat trick, no points. Then he had 2 assists. Then he had an assist. Then 2 games without any points. Then he had another hat trick. Then he had a goal last night. But boom, he's out. Hit from behind. I believe the player's name was Emil Lilleberg. Kind of like, I don't think he meant to hurt him at all. And he pushed him from behind when he was almost right next to the goalie, but it did not look good. He's getting up, kind of hanging his shoulder a little bit. But that's a brutal injury. He's been on fire.
Yeah, fuck, man. That's a tough one. Like especially when a guy's going that fast to apply any type of pressure at the back and extend your arms. You have to take accountability, I guess. I don't know. He'll probably get like a game, maybe 2.
I don't even know if because they changed it from a major. They gave him a major originally, and then they
he kind of does that little cross check, man, and Hurdle's already on his toes there, and he goes so hard into the wall there. I think that's a little bit reckless. I'm not saying this guy's a dirty player. That just like, especially at the fact Hurdle's going to be out, you can't do that. You can't push him on the back of the pant like that. Fuck. And like you said, man, he'd had a hat trick the one game. Like he'd finally been coming into his own because last year he came over in that trade from San Jose, kind of rushed it a little bit, being injured. Didn't have the best playoff, but he almost looked like a little bit slower, maybe not in the best shape, especially for those big guys who that can happen quickly. But fuck, man, that's such a hard loss if they lose him for a long period of time.
We all know, like, you get that little shove, and when you're going full speed, it is absolute panic time. When you're like, if you get that little shove, it's just that one little ounce, and every player knows what you're doing. You know, you can get them off balance that way. So you hate to see that, especially, you know, a guy like Hurdle, who, you know, I've never seen him really do anything too dirty to anyone. He's an honest player, and they need him. They need him bad in the playoffs the way he's been playing. You know, lets Jack kind of not have to do everything, and Stone can kind of, you know, find where he's at. So that's a tough blow for the Golden Knights.
Yeah, I didn't. So he has 31 goals. His career high is 35. He might have broken that. It's actually only his third year scoring 30 or more goals. I would have thought that was a little different. The NCAA tournament bracket came out, guys. But before we get to the men, we have to shut out Kirsten Sims. Did you guys see this Wisconsin versus Ohio State women's national title game?
Insane.
So, Biz, Mark Johnson, who was on the 80 Olympic team for the U.S., he's been the coach of the women's program in Wisconsin for a long time. They've had a powerhouse for years. So they're down 3-2. They get a penalty shot with 19 seconds to go in the third period. And he's standing on the bench, and he's like, who wants it? And I guess like all the players right away, they're like, Sim. She throws her hand up. Boom, I want it. She went down and probably scored the nastiest breakaway shootout penalty shot goal I've seen this year. Like, it was Patrick Kane in Patrick Kane's prime. Some people are saying like the puck went backwards. It maybe shouldn't have been allowed. I thought it was just your momentum had to keep going forward. She put the goalie in the corner, Biz, ties it up. 19 seconds to go. Then she gets the OT winner for Wisconsin to win the NCAA title.
No way.
Unreal moment. You got to see the goal, dude.
What last name Sim? What's her first name?
Kirsten. Kirsten, sorry.
How do you
Talk
spell
about
that
like
one?
the pressure. If you have, you raise your hand to go down with 19 seconds left and to pull a move like that, like if that's me, I'm shooting it 100%. Either missing the net, hitting the goalie right in the chest, or scoring. No in between. But imagine like you're coming down with that many stick handles and you lose it or whatever. Like I just love the fact that she trusted her game, knew what
Ice
she was doing.
choppy too. Like that wasn't easy.
She had so much confidence to like try that move because Keith, there was 30 stick handles in 2 seconds.
I know.
And then the final, like I finally thought she's going backhand. Goalie slides over. Nope, right back. It was gross. She had the whole net. She said to slide it in, and then she gets the OT winner. So just an incredible like final championship game. Was that at where the Gophers played?
Wow,
G?
yeah,
it
great
was.
patience.
Yeah,
Oh,
they have
and then she
the
sellies
women
to the
Gophers have
crowd.
a sick arena.
Yeah, that is a cool arena.
Oh.
Mariucci Arena?
So they play at the one right next door to it. It's attached to Mariucci. I think it's called Riddler Arena or something like that, but it's
Okay.
really cool.
Okay.
Don't they
Unreal
have
game.
3 girls on their like the same line that are up for like the Hobie Baker for women's?
I saw a girl won it from there. Gee, look
Was
up her name quick. They
Was that
announced
Lane
it.
Hudson?
Wow, what a selly too.
Celebrini was
I just
runner-up.
saw the penalty shot and then the game winner in OT. Great job
Biz,
off the
like,
rebound to find that.
There's 19 seconds left to tie it up. You're pulling a move like that?
Oh, me? No,
I mean anyone. Like think about. I'm even thinking Patty Kane or Sid. Like they're gonna keep it simple. Go to a move that they, it's nothing.
Yeah,
too
because
crazy.
if you mess that up, it's like, what are you doing?
I
You
know. I know.
Like you tried that. She's like, nope. I just
Alligator
know it
blood.
works.
The confidence is
Alligator blood.
amazing.
That's a heartbreaking loss for Ohio State, dude. You're right there. I do know. Gee, how did they get the penalty shot? Was it a trip on a breakaway?
No, covered up the
Covered
puck
it in the crease.
But Casey O'Brien, the girl who won the women's Hobie Baker called the Patty Kazmaier Award, Keith from Milton, Massachusetts, a Wisconsin girl, Milton, Mass, right there.
What?
What? Keith, Milton, I think they had, 3 different girls teams, like youth teams, won the state tournament, and then the
I
high
heard
school
that.
team lost in the in the state title game. So Milton, Massachusetts, producing
Let's
some girl
go.
hockey players.
What's her
Since
name?
we're talking
Casey
about the
O'Brien?
women's hockey, that PWHL is cranking. Like they're already talking about expansion. They do these little like these pop-up tournaments in different cities, like get the teams to kind of see and engage interest if like what cities would want to maybe have a team. I don't know if it's going to happen in Colorado, but they were packed to the tits there. Like it was sold out barn. Like apparently they might get one. There's other rumblings, maybe Seattle. So I don't know where expansion's going to take them. Right now they got 6 teams, but I think that they're going to quickly move to 8. They're selling out tons of games. There's more energy at the female game in Toronto than there is in the lower bowl at the Toronto Maple Leafs games. Like way
They
more
play
energy.
at the Rico. Is that what it is? Where
Yeah,
the
the Rico
Marlies play?
Coliseum.
And Tessa was telling us like they could no doubt sell out the Leafs arena.
Yeah, Rogers
So,
Arena.
Really? That's awesome.
Rogers, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I just think Air Canada Center. It's just, I don't know why I cannot figure out that Rogers. NCAA men, guys, I'm very excited. It's an awesome tournament every year. 6 Hockey East teams got in this year. Just quickly going through. We got BC's the number 1 seed. They're playing Bentley. In that bracket, Providence plays Denver. So there's a chance that BC has to play Denver to go to the Frozen Four. Incredible final game last year in Minneapolis. Western Michigan plays Minnesota. Western Michigan, where did they come from? I'm guessing they're a little bit of an older team, kind of like Maine, but they have a wagon. But they got to play
Alex Bump. Keep an eye on Alex Bump, 5th round draft pick of the Flyers. He's been incredible this season.
Biz loves that guy.
Wastern, they call it, right? Does everyone just get shit-faced at that place? Wastern University?
They're playing Minnesota State in that bracket. Minnesota plays UMass. So, geez, that's a tough matchup for Western Michigan if they end up getting Minnesota. UMass was good, too. I saw
Are
them
you
play
guys
BU.
going to St. Louis? Did we already mention that?
Yes. Yeah. The Game Notes guys will be there. We'll be there.
Nice.
So I have the mini golf tournament for Barstool that's on Thursday. Maybe I'll try to fly there, depending who's in the Frozen Four. Frozen Four is great. Awesome tournament. Awesome
Whit,
thing to
I
be a
think
part of.
BU is the biggest question because they're a team that wouldn't surprise me one bit if they're playing for the Frozen Four, but it also wouldn't surprise me if they get bounced by Ohio State. Like, everything's really changed since this goalie came in, and Pandolfo has been pretty hard on them with their Hockey East performance. But, like, I don't know. I mean, am I wrong to say that?
Hey, Whit, what would you say to the boys right now if you got to go in there and talk for 30 seconds, a minute? Like, how would you address the team going in right now?
Be like Jim Harbaugh in the Anaheim. Did you see that?
That was incredible.
Unbelievable.
I'd go in and say, boys, you had 2 finalists for the Hobie Baker last year, and Lane Hunt and Celebrini, and they're not here anymore. And they'd say, Lane wasn't a Hobie Baker finalist.
You say, shut the fuck up. I'm talking.
Can you get the hell out of our locker room? I turned on. I went to USCHO, like college hockey online. It was probably like 10:30 Saturday night to see scores, and I noticed Michigan State and Ohio State were going into the double overtime or the first overtime of the Big Ten title game. So I clicked that on. It was awesome. Isaac Howard, this kid's an animal, the Iceman. We talked about him at his draft when he said, I'm the best looking guy at the draft. I wanted to be the best dressed as well. Tampa Bay picked him first round. He scored the winner in double OT. Ohio State looked good. Like, they were deep. That's going to be a tough first game for BU. And then if you do win, Michigan State, I imagine, takes care of Cornell. Although Cornell's coach, Mike Schaefer, he's been there forever. They had to win the ECAC championship to get a bid in the NCAA. They got it done. They beat Clarkson. So, like, who knows, this legendary coach, like, what if somehow, like, this is the year he gets his first national title in his last year? They were going nuts. He was, like, covered in water or Gatorade, and he's holding the ECAC trophy. He's going nuts. My brother Sean, who played at Cornell for Mike Schaefer, he's like, yeah, he wasn't acting like this when I was there. He's fucking hard ass, just giving it to us all the time. But he realizes, like, my career was done if we didn't just win this game. The last bracket that we haven't chatted about, Maine. They get the 3 seed overall in the tournament. The number 1 seed in Allentown. They play Penn State. Awesome program. See what's happening there.
Essentially a home series for Penn State, though, right?
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
super close to campus. Maine fans travel very good. They took over the Greatest Bar the other night after the Hockey East Championship. The band was playing in the bar and everything.
They play out of Lehigh Valley's barn?
It's just
In
dude.
in
We've
Allentown?
talked about
It's
you know
the
they
worst.
have these 4 brackets, and what are they called? The
Neutral site
whatever.
regional games.
No, I know.
Neutral sites.
But are they playing out of Lehigh Valley's barn in Allentown?
That is where they're playing this series, but
Pretty
that's
sick.
not where Penn State plays.
Right,
it's a
right,
joke
but
that
pretty-
they do this. This neutral zone, the neutral site games is a fucking joke.
Brutal.
The fact that they're playing games in Manchester, Toledo, Ohio, boys, are you kidding me? Like,
I know.
what
There
are
might be-
hey,
there
listen,
might be
I will
300
say
people there.
Toledo Walleye fans are hardcore, so I would imagine that
And I
they
love the trim there.
I've never spent a night in Toledo. We were always in and out because of how dangerous it was. You said Manchester, New Hampshire's hosting games.
They always do.
Oh yeah.
They
I
always-
mean, did win a Calder
crazy.
Cup there, but yeah, I don't know
You
about
did?
these neutral games. You think so?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Biz, you know who's very good for Maine? Enormous, flies around, hits everything that moves. Cale Makar's brother.
No, I thought he was going to UMass too.
He transferred from UMass, but this
he hit the
season
portal?
came to Maine. So, dude, this guy's a machine. Maine won Hockey East with ease. UConn drummed BU in the semifinals. Maine drummed Northeastern, and then Maine took care of UConn. UConn's also a program it's pretty cool what's happening there. They finally got their own rink. Cool new arena, right? They have Mike Cavanaugh, who was an assistant at BC for a long time. He's the head coach. And I think if you have a nice new arena, they possibly will have pretty big NIL money based on the basketball program.
Yep.
And you have this Mid Fairfield program, which is for sure, if not top 3, a top 5 program for developing players in the United States, they might be able to start grabbing some studs, and UConn could turn into a wagon.
Well, Quinnipiac, too, though. It's not like Connecticut hasn't had good college hockey because Quinnipiac's done well, too. And that's why that first round game, Quinnipiac-UConn, is awesome. It's like the Battle of Connecticut just to start it off.
Yeah, all those
Chris
fucking
Donnelly,
33-year-old
was over the other
firefighters.
night, and he said that his son made that mid-Fairfield team, and there's a woman that has coached this like one group of team, and they haven't lost in like 4 years.
It's the 2012 Mid-Fairfield team. I think last year they played up a year, so against 11s. I don't know if they ever lost. This year they played with their age for Quebec. They don't lose. They won Quebec with ease. Apparently, like one of the that's another thing about that Mid-Fairfield program. Like, I mean, there's a lot of money around there. Greenwich, Connecticut, all that. Westchester, New York. They have an enormous pool of kids to choose from, and they have a lot of money. I think there's a parent on the team with a full like NHL size arena at his house that they're practicing at every day. Also, talking about our buddy Donnelly, his son, he's a 2020. They had 60 kids at 2020. They're turning 5 this year, and they had 60 kids come to tryouts for a team.
What?
Like a full. I swear to God, Biz.
That's
Next
crazy.
year, Wyatt'll be doing like Devo, like they play like against each other cross ice. Like, no, Mid-Fairfield has a legit team with tryouts. How do you even have tryouts for 4 and 5-year-olds? Like, what do you do? Like, these kids can't. Imagine Wyatt at a tryout. He'd stab the coach.
It's like
if he
who
brought
eats
him
their own
over to the
boogers?
board.
Half the kids raise their hand. All right, you guys get cut. All right.
Whose parent
let's keep
has their
going
own
here.
plane?
Wait, before we move on from college
Who's
hockey,
still wetting
though,
the bed? Yeah.
we do got to mention
Take a
Brad
seat.
Berry, like legendary North Dakota coach, just got fired. I mean, pretty surprising, I would say, but at the same time, not so much. I mean, a guy who's never finished below 510 seasons there, won a national title in his first year, the only coach in college hockey history to ever do that, 5 regular season NCHC titles, 5 NCAA appearances. I mean, kind of a guy that like was looked at as like almost like a legendary coach right now in the college hockey game. So
Wow,
on the
he's
negative
gone?
side, that they haven't made the tournament the past 2 of 3 seasons. So
Yeah, if you're North Dakota, dude,
Yeah.
you're not in the tournament. It's just not. It's not good. That's what North Dakota is, man. They got to be a powerhouse.
Could Hackstall be going back?
that was my suggestion, Busy.
Oh,
I think,
actually?
I think Dave Hackstall. I mean, he's tried the NHL twice now. I wouldn't necessarily say a head coaching job is coming across his table anytime soon in the NHL. So why not go back to where you played? Why not go back to
He was
North
at
Dakota?
a game at ASU, like supporting
Yeah, you were
the
with
team.
him that night, right?
What?
You were with him that night at the North Dakota
I
Arizona
went
State
by
game.
one of the boxes and he was in there. I remember he coached college hockey, but I'm not as dialed in as you guys. And then it just obviously made sense that he was there watching the Fighting Sioux. So, do they still call him the Fighting Sioux?
No, unfortunately not. They're like the Fighting Hawks now. It's kind of
Fighting Hawks. Okay.
But two more names for this coaching job. Jared DeMichael, assistant at UMass. Now he's an assistant at MSU. I think he'd be great. And here's one crazy one you guys might think I'm nuts for. Jonathan Toews. He wants to give back to the game. He wants to get back.
He's playing next year, bud.
He's playing.
Dude, is
he
he,
texted
though?
me.
Is he definitely
He
coming back?
texted me the other day. We're going golfing this week in Arizona, so I'll let you guys
He's
know.
playing. He's skating in Arizona every day, G.
I just think
He's playing.
You know
if
where
he's
he's
playing,
you know
then
where he's
yeah,
starting.
we'll cross him off the list.
Starting with the Gargoyles. Gonna be our first line
Nice,
center. That's
nice.
where it all begins.
We'll give him an A. We'll give him an A on his sweater.
We'll do a bobblehead
Chuck
night and an A.
Someone told, Billy Ryan told me that Maine won Hockey East, right?
Yeah.
And he said that like they're not a great team. They're all just like third liners grinded out. But he said that their coach is amazing. What
That's
he gets out
Merle's
of their
best
players.
buddy.
Benny Barr.
Benny Barr, yes. Yeah. He
So
said
Keith, this
is.
guy, he recruited and built a national champion at Union. He had moved on. He recruited and built a national champion at Providence. He had moved on by the time they won it. And he had recruited and built a national championship team at UMass, and he had moved on. So he hadn't got he's like brought in all these players and they've ended up winning, but he hasn't won one yet. So that's why it'd be pretty cool. And like I'm rooting for BU, but he's a great I've known him for a long time. Awesome dude.
Just
and they
the
have a great goalie.
Absolute best guy in the world. Real quick story about Benny Barr. I actually texted him couple months ago and was like, hey, Benny, my little brother really wants to get into coaching. Could you send me over just a couple bullet points that I can text over to him and, we'll help him with his coaching interviews? He said, what's his number? I sent him over my little brother's number. He jumped on the phone with my little brother for 90 minutes, just picking his brain, teaching him what to do when you go into a coach's interview, what systems guys want to hear that their team's going to be playing nowadays. So just like a salt of the earth, best guy in the world. Everyone should be rooting for Ben Barr. The hockey world needs more guys.
There you go.
That's incredible.
And for college hockey, Thursday at 12 Eastern, game notes.
10 a.m. Eastern, a little earlier. 10 a.m. Eastern.
10 a.m. They will have an entire preview of the NCAA tournament coming up. So those guys are so dialed in. G will be there. Posh will be there. Merle's and Army. Check them out Thursday, 10 a.m. Finally, our last thing, the Chiclets 4-play match.
Oh,
it is dialed.
I thought
boys.
you were going to mention you were going to IceCon in Nashville.
Oh, that's another thing.
Wow, you get the sweater on right now. I was going to go with. I'm going to back
Whitney
out.
going with you?
You're not going?
Do you want me to go? Then I'll rebook the flight. I'm on the road for a long period of time. I got 2 days at home coming up, Thursday, Friday. I was going to leave Saturday morning to meet you there, or I get the 2 extra days rest. What do you think?
But
what's going to help us more in the sandbagger?
I think getting the rest, because I might more than likely I'll be playing golf with Jonathan Taves.
Okay, then you go home. I'll take care of Chiclets and represent IceCon. Keith, you're more than welcome to come. I have a flight Sunday morning from Nashville to Atlanta to get ready. I want to play golf on Sunday in Atlanta. I need to play a round of golf before the 4-play match. That will be Tuesday, April 2nd. It's a 27-hole bonanza. 9 holes, 3-on-3 scramble, 9 holes, 3-on-3 alternate shot, and 9 holes, 1-on-1. Myself versus Riggs, Keith versus Frankie, Biz versus Trent. Here's the wrinkle.
Oh, baby.
There is 27 holes coming up. Stroke play.
Yeah, motherfuckers.
Yes. You just heard correct.
Could
no
get
more,
ugly.
hey, you hit it in the woods, you chunk it out of the woods, the team's on putting for birdie, and we're hitting our 5th from the fairway. Let's just end the hole. We lost the hole. No, it's ball and hole golf. We will have 1 score as a team for the 9-hole scramble. We will have 1 score as a team for the 9-hole alternate shot, and we will have 3 scores individually that adds up to 1 total team score of what we shoot. So apparently, all the fans that talk to 4-play a lot online, they say, play a round ball and hole. We want to see what you'd really shoot.
Yeah.
People say that all the time. So we're doing it. So I guess when Riggs and I play, yes, we're playing against each other, but we're really playing against the course. If I could somehow go out and shoot a 39 and he shoots 44, that's a 5-shot lead for our team in that match, right? So it's a little different than match play, but you could see some numbers, right?
Are there any strokes being given up on either side? Are we figuring that out when we get there? Or are we basically just saying,
I don't know. I think we're all pretty even, dude. I think right around there.
I would say me and Trent are very similar, right?
Yeah, I think
he plays
you're both
a lot,
probably.
Man. He lives in Florida now.
I play probably 12 to 15 rounds a year.
Max.
Yeah, I mean, I got 2 rounds since November 1st. I mean, but this would only make it better, guys. That's why I got to play Sunday in Atlanta. Actually, a guy reached out, wrote me a DM. Would you like to play at Atlanta Athletic Club? I got to write him back. Please, God, I'd love to play with you. But the fact that it's stroke play, 4-play versus Chiclets. Now, what's nice about this is if somebody has a big lead going into the singles matches, like, dude, somebody makes an 11 on a hole, like, you're right back into it.
I know.
So it is not match play. It's 4-play versus Chiclets, ball and hole. It changes everything. I've played stroke play tournaments. You hit one out of bounds, you got to re-tee. You hit another one out of bounds, you got to re-tee. Then you're standing there. No, we're not going till the next hole till you get one in bounds, get it on the green, and put it in the hole. So let's see how this goes. I can't wait. It's going to be fun, but I wanted to announce that to everyone.
The course looks like there's some hazards too. I looked at it.
Water everywhere.
There's water everywhere. It's tree lined. Yeah.
No.
This is no there's gonna be some numbers, I'll
just bring my 7-iron and my putter. 7-iron and my 52 and my putter.
Just get off the tee, Biz. When you get off the tee, you're unstoppable. Right? You know how to get off the tee in golf and tee up a girl you met on Raya.
Yeah.
And you can do both of those things and we'll win this.
Yeah. So,
very exciting time of the year in hockey. Very exciting time for Chiclets and golf season beginning. Golf, to finish it up, Victor Hovland won the tournament this week in the Tampa area. He, on Thursday, told the media, basically, I'm so lost. I have no clue where the ball's going.
And then he won the tournament?
And then he won. That's golf. Then he won the fucking tournament. Like, that's golf for you right there. He goes, my whole life I've been able to pick a target and then decide if I want the ball coming in left to right or right to left, and I can't do it now. And it's driving me crazy. And then he won the tournament. So that's golf right there.
By how many strokes?
2 shots. It was him and JT. We're
Justin
tied.
Thomas?
We're tied. He was like lighting it up Sunday. He bogeyed the 18th hole as Hovland birdied the 17th hole behind him. So he had a 2-shot lead on the 18th hole, and he got it done. But that just describes golf. Like, oh, I'm lost. I have no clue. And then you hit 1 shot, something clicks. You're like, I'm back. Stupidest sport in the world. But I love you guys. Everyone listening, thank you. Thank you so much. We love you. Pink Whitney, Dove Men Plus Care. Anything else, boys?
No. Hell of a pod.
Yeah, great job.
Appreciate the college hockey breakdown. And once again, to the gentlemen of the Progress Club in Halifax, we thank you for all your hospitality and the amazing day that you brought into our lives and what an amazing cause and what you guys are doing. So thanks again. Great pod. Jans, you look great. We'll see you Monday.
I want in next year.
Okay.
Please.
That's a deal.
Yes. Love you guys. Have a great week.
Love you, boys.